Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today, many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with, and this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
I remember when the ATL wasn't banging, now they banging, 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 banging. Niggas throwing sets and them bullets start ringing, bitches banging, 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 banging. I remember when the ATL wasn't banging, now they banging, 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 banging. Niggas throwing sets and them bullets start ringing like bang, 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 bitch, nigga, bang, 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 bang.
Yeah, about to have me some Duckton. Where the what the heck? What did he go? I had my mouth. What the
He's sleeping now. Because they want to get him good and strong. So a little before debate time, he gets a shot in the ass.
First things first, in this lame duck session.
My administration has accomplished more than almost any administration in the history of our country. America's so true. Didn't expect that reaction, but that's okay.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
You're trying your best, but it never feels like enough.
I started having second thoughts almost the moment I sat down on the plane.
Lights off! Off! Turn them off. They're too bright. Turn them off. Turn them off. Let's go. Ready? Turn.
We go back a long way. She was 12, I was 30, but anyway.
So I changed my return flight and flew back on the first available flight I could take.
I'm sick and tired of smart guys.
I'm sick and tired of ordinary people being fleeced.
I'm tired of being quiet.
I'm sick and tired. I'm just sick and tired.
We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
With great power comes great responsibility.
You want to see a bird graveyard? You just go. Take a look. A bird graveyard? Go under a windmill someday. You'll see more birds than you've ever seen ever in your life.
Tonight, we find out who is this week's Trash Bag Human of the Week in tonight's Lame Duck. TFP presents the Lame Duck Session.
Bless, Leif, Cleanse.
Yeah.
Free cat, In the building with the tape fist tight. Ricardo on the mic, yeah, he's spitting that fight. Mike is right with the vision so clear. Political prophet dropping truth in your ear. Progressive moves, but we keeping it raw. Individual minds breaking every damn law. Social conservatism got the crowd in a trance. Tape fist politics, we advance in the stance. Put your tape fist in the air, let it rise. Feel the power of the truth in your eyes. From the left to the right, we unite. Tape fist politics gonna shine so bright. MD20 in the cut with the plan. Building up the movement with a taped up hand. Progressive dreams in a conservative frame. Individual voices calling out every name. Progressive moves, but we keeping it raw. Individual minds breaking every damn law. Social conservatism got the crowd in a trance. Tape fist politics, we advance in the stance. Once you tape fist in the air, let it rise. Feel the power of the truth in your eyes. From the left to the right, we unite. Tape fist politics gonna shine so bright.
New golden age. New golden age. A new golden age. A new golden age.
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
The following announcements have been paid for by Tape Fist Politics.
Peace, peace, peace. What's going on? What's happening? Hey, Venkat, can you hear me pretty clear? Because I got a major delay. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, I have no idea what's happening right now. Everything is delaying. I click a button and it take like 5 seconds to damn do what I tell it to do. I don't know what's happening. If it keep doing it, I may switch my Wi-Fi from my mobile hotspot to my actual phone Wi-Fi. But you know, just keep an eye. Yeah, if I flip out or something, just let me know. Just keep an eye out on it for me, because yeah, I don't know what's happening right now. Like, it's been I've been messing with this thing for like almost an hour now. I don't know what's going on. But in any event, hey, it's Thursday, man. You know what that means? TFP 2.0. TFP Red and Black, TFP Wolfpack. We in the house for another edition of Tape Fist Politics. Vancat, what's happening, man?
Well, it's a new golden era. TFP 2.0. The red era.
That's right. So yeah, hey, this the series finale of the MGSD series, The Politics of Drugs. We're gonna cap August off with this episode, talking about various things drug related. You know, so fentanyl is a big topic. We're gonna discuss that tonight. Just pharmaceuticals as a whole and what Trump is doing to try to I guess you would say mitigate drug price. I think that'll be a heated discussion. Me and Vancat should get into it. Like I said, I think that we agree in totality. But I mean, I got some things I want to say about it. You know, do I think it's all bad? We'll see. And of course, you know, the tried and true that's been talked about for decades, the legalization of marijuana and the workarounds that people are using now with hemp and CBD related products. We're gonna get into that. And as always, we're gonna cap it off with the lame duck of the week for tonight. So other than that, man, hey, we're gonna get into some headlines first, of course, because there's a lot more stuff going on in the news. I want to start off with this, Vancat. I think it's a story going on right now that's under the radar, like real under the radar. I don't think that it should be under the radar though. So I'm gonna share. I didn't get time to cut the headline, so I'm gonna just share my screen. So you see it right here, folks. According to Reuters, U.S. Venezuela tensions rise as U.S. warships. Yeah, you heard me correct. As U.S. warships arrive in Southern Caribbean. So as we speak right now, Trump got warships, destroyers, and all manner of war machines down in the Southern Caribbean, close to the shoreline of Venezuela right now, as we speak.
Crazy.
But
this is
I
the
was
peace
told
president.
that's what I'm saying. I was told that Trump was the no wars president, no wars, and none of this would be happening if I was president. That's what I was
Who's
told.
supposed to get the Nobel Peace Prize?
Yeah. Now he's down there under the guise of stopping drugs, i.e., cocaine and fentanyl. Under the guise, they even said in the press conference yesterday with Carolyn Levitt, they even claimed Maduro. Now let me give a caveat. Maduro is a bad person. Maduro is a dictator. Let's not, like, I understand all that. But they just flat out said that the man was a leader of a cartel. It's what they said. So
okay, so he's a dictator, but how many dictators does Trump have a fond opinion on? So which dictator is the good dictator? Which dictator is the bad dictators?
Trump only Trump can decide that.
Oh Lord!
So that's what I'm telling you. So that's what's going on in Venezuela right now. Like I said, it's not getting a lot of news coverage. Why? I don't know.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So, that's what's going on down in Venezuela right now. Now this all could be just a puffing up of the chest. You know what I'm saying? I'm not disputing it. But it's big news none the same. Being that you have it's at the end of the day, it's military saber rattling for no specific reason. Me personally, I believe there's underlying motives behind it. Now we know Venezuela is a rich oil country. We understand that since Trump, even from Trump 1, Trump has been bitching and complaining about Maduro and trying to get him out. The sanctions have done what it was supposed to do. Now, a negative effect of the sanctions was Venezuela's coming to the United States. A MAGA maniac don't want to talk about that, though. MAGA maniac don't want to talk about that at all. It's to my belief that again, I can't prove nothing that I'm saying. It is to my belief that Trump wants to get to that oil in Venezuela. And I don't think Maduro want to play ball. So he want to try to force Maduro out to try to get a puppet regime in that's going to play ball with Trump. But again, another contradiction though, Van Cat, because we were told what's the 3 magic words? Drill, baby, drill.
Baby drill.
That's what we was told. Haven't seen a drill nor a baby since Trump. I ain't seen nothing. So it's all a farce. It's all a farce. Now to alleviate the pressure that he's under, he's gonna get it from places unknown, i.e., Venezuela. That's exactly what he's trying to do. Like I said, I can't prove nothing that I just said. All I can do is put 2 and 2 together. That's merely all I can do. So you got anything else on that particular story?
No, I mean you pretty much covered it, and it is way under the radar, and it's good to put a spotlight on that. The hypocrisy of Donald Trump is a forever going thing. Everything that they try to say he is, he isn't, and everything that he says others are, he is. So here's our peace president at work again, and just another head-scratching, unbelievable thing that he's doing, and he's getting a pass on it. Like, imagine Biden doing this. Imagine Obama doing this. My God. Oh, Lord. Anyway, all these so quote-unquote black conservatives would be like, oh, look, Obama went into this place and did this and blah, blah, blah. You know, so
Yep. Hey, you absolutely right, man. It's the sleight of hand. You know what I'm saying? That it's the sleight of hand. Listen to me talk and do all of this while I move the pieces around. You know what I mean? So that's exactly what it is. Okay, so this is the next headline. Now this is a developing story. So it says CDC officials escorted from headquarters as chaos engulfs agency over director's ouster. So we saw yesterday, by way of Donald Trump, RFK Jr. let go of the director of the CDC. Now, mind you, the person that they fired was nominated by Trump at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of his term, and then turned around and confirmed in the Senate. So 7 months later, 8 months later, they fire her. Now, it's speculation, Van Cat, on why they did this. Some are saying that whatever RFK got up his sleeve is so egregious, not even she could say, hey, look, I can't have no part in this. You crazy as hell. So they got up out of there. Now, you saw a couple days ago, RFK Jr. just put out new standards for getting the COVID vaccine. So you can no longer get the boosters or anything. You got to see a doctor first before you can get any COVID vaccine or booster shot. So that's what's going on. Like I said, it's rumblings that they about to start doing something with vaccines in totality. So again, I can't prove nothing that I'm about to say, Van Cat. Like I said earlier, it's to my belief. Now the lady that was director of the CDC, she wasn't even a doctor. She was like one of these holistic natural medicine researchers, one of these crazy kooky people. But not even she could get down with what RFK Jr. is. So the next, go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to say, I mean, this is deeply troubling because, we're going to pay a huge price here. People are going to die. And we can't have top officials in the government running on hunches, speculation, and I believe this to be this way. You got to have sound reason actions that you do in these higher positions. So this is going to really screw some people over, and we're going to lose lives that could have otherwise been saved. This pretend world that we're in, ever since Donald Trump and Republicans decided to politicize COVID, which is ridiculous, an airborne virus, for God's sakes. Ever since we did this, I mean, for God's sake, Trump went on live TV talking about injecting bleach and all this other nonsense, but somehow Fauci is the issue. I mean, come on, man. But this is a public health issue, and you can't just have people not have access to the vaccine. The vaccine is, whether you agree with it or not, COVID didn't subside or reduce drastically on its own. It was done because of the friggin' vaccine. Once those shots in the arm started going out there was enough people in the population that had it that slowed it down. Of course, since then, we've declared victory, and it's been creeping up in behind the scenes. There's people getting COVID all over the damn place, including some people at my job. So
I've heard that there's a what new strain, a Stratus, I believe it's called.
Yeah,
a Stratus. It's been some confirmed cases in the Atlanta area of the new strain. So, hey man, like I said, I'm not one to talk because I didn't get the vaccine, not because I don't believe in it, not because I don't believe in it. To me, I think I wanted to get sufficient enough data to where, okay, this is what I need. Now, in the event of a mass crisis, of course I would get the vaccine. But I mean, I live in the thought box most of the week.
Right.
So
So you had cover.
I'm self
Unlike
quarantined.
other, you're not
Right. I'm
required
self
to
quarantined.
be around other people. So that makes
Yeah.
sense. That makes sense. You didn't drastically
But
need it.
my
Like
family,
us. I'm
my
on
family
front
got
lines.
it though. Yeah, my family got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, if you are socially around most of the time, yeah, I would advise people to get it. Go ahead.
Well, the other thing too is RFK is just drastically just wrong on so many things. I mean, look how the measles epidemic just shot up. Measles is something that was thought to be pretty much eradicated, thanks in due to vaccines. And now he's like dead wrong on that. And he's going to be dead wrong on bigger issues that are going to face us. And we are ill prepared within these next, 3.5 years that we have with this ignorant administration, that we are so. If there was a terrorist attack that used some sort of chemical weapon-based virus thing on us, we would be screwed because we do not have the level of intelligence or the manpower, since they eliminated so many people within the government to respond to these things. We would be screwed on an epic level. And COVID was just a precursor, the pre-show. That was light work, and we failed that drastically bad. Over 1 million people died in the U.S. alone, which is just ignorant. A lot of lives that could have been saved, gone for no reason. And the last thing I want to say is, it's a known fact that because of vaccines over the decades that have eradicated some of the biggest plagues of viruses that we've had in the early 1900s, 1800s, those viruses and sicknesses are no bigger threat today. But when we decide to turn our back on the vaccines that have helped to eradicate a lot of these diseases, it's going to all creep back up. We think that we're doing our victory laps, and every time you do a victory lap, you leave yourself open for a disaster.
Now you brought up the plague, Venkat.
Yeah.
So a couple of weeks ago, the bubonic plague actually popped up in California. It was a New Mexico man that got it. Tell me that we living in the era of Trump without telling me that we living in the era of Trump, where the damn bubonic plague just reemerged out the blue, like we in medieval times or something.
Yep.
I can't make heads or tails of it, man.
You can't make this stuff up. Just feel like we're in a movie.
Hey, it's crazy, man. So the last headline we're gonna get into before we start the show. I'm pretty sure everybody has heard by now. Now, this is a Venkat versus MD special, right here. We know there was a school shooting yesterday, a tragic school shooting.
Oh boy!
In Minneapolis, at a Catholic. It was during a mass at the Catholic church on the grounds of a Catholic school. This person was, I think his name was Robin Westman. Now, allegedly, because I don't know if this has been confirmed. Allegedly, this was a young man that transitioned at one point in time to a woman. Now, his ideology was all over the place. I put the videos. I don't know if you watched those videos, Venkat. I put the videos in the group chat yesterday of his YouTube videos before they got took down. His ideology was all over. He hated everybody. Surprisingly, he didn't say nothing about no niggas on any other. That's like the only group. That's like the only group he didn't say nothing about. Was niggas. Everybody else got it. The small hats, the damn the MAGA. I'm talking about everybody got smoked with the guy.
Wow.
So, of course, Fox News been on 24 since it started. That's all Fox News talking about. Trump is, to my belief, once again, Trump is going to use this to further his conquest with the military and the National Guard. And I think Minnesota may be a staging ground for it, based on the parameters surrounding this tragedy. Now, everybody knows. Let me say it again before anybody got anything to say. I am pro Second Amendment in whatever context you want to put that in. I believe you should have the freedom to own weapons. But I also believe there should be parameters surrounding the ownership of a gun. That's a fact. I had to go through it. So should everybody else have to go through it. I was once charged with a felony. I had to jump through all kind of hoops and go through all stages of hell to get my freedom back. And I did it. And now I'm able to enjoy all the freedoms anybody else would be able to be that's a law-abiding citizen here in this country. If I wouldn't have did that, I wouldn't have the ability to own weapons or vote or do all the other stuff that freedom-loving people get to do. Yep. I think those parameters should be set for everybody. I also believe that there should be different stages of qualification when it comes to owning a gun. Now, I live in a free state. I can go to the store right now, even if I didn't have weapons now. I can go to any gun store in Georgia and buy the gun as long as I got the money for it. I do believe in training. You gotta have your learner's license for a certain period of time before you can get your regular license. I believe it should be the same for carry license. That's just what it is. I also believe that red flag law should be a thing. But how far are you willing to take your freedom is my question. Vancat, what you got on the situation from yesterday?
Well, I agree with what you said just now, and we're all for it. It's just not enough. It's just not enough. A lot of people just feel like it's just so laid back and lax with being able to obtain a gun in this country. The statistic is for every person in America, man, woman, and child, it's 7 to 10 guns. That's crazy, man. And
okay, let me stop you right there real quick. I just want to add, and then I'm gonna let you go.
Yeah.
So your issue is not necessarily the ownership of the weapon. Your gripe is with the mass producing of the weapon. Would I be correct on that?
Mass producing, and the irresponsible nature of it. When you talk about all the training and checks and balances, I agree with that. Because to me, a gun requires strict responsibility and intelligence. And I think if you don't meet those requirements, you shouldn't be able to have a gun. I think guns are supposed to be reserved for the most strictly responsible people. And anybody else holding them should be illegal, and that should come with a set of consequences for those that are, whether it be criminals or whether it be just knuckleheads. But we don't have that.
But what about the quantity, though? What about the quantity? If I meet all them requirements, should I be limited to the amount of guns that I can own? See, that's where we're going to differ. You know that, right?
Well, okay, so I'm willing to look the other way because I don't really, if you're a responsible gun owner, it's not going to matter how many guns you have. You know what I mean?
Right. I agree with that.
So I could see that. And that's fine with me. But the amount of guns that are flooding the market that can just easily get in the hands of people that we would not like to have those guns, that's problematic. So the quantity isn't really for the responsible people. It's more like there's just so much out there, it'll be bound to get into the hands of the wrong people. You know what I'm saying?
So, but I agree with everything you just said, Vancat. The problem is you talking about 98 to 99% of gun owners. the vast majority of gun owners are responsible.
I don't think so.
So why, man? Come on, see.
I don't think so. This is the United States.
But,
This is the United States, but it's a different level. We stupid. We super stupid out here, boy. We see it every day. People not being responsible. That I can't agree with you. That's a little bit of Boy Scout faith you got right there.
No, I don't believe so, Van Cat, because again,
Okay.
the violence that we see, it's a pimple on the ass of America, bro. It truly is. So if we, like I said, I'm just basing it off your logic. We talking about numbers, right?
Yeah.
If it's 7, 8 guns to one person, that's a lot. That's a big ass number. Versus the crime that is committed, the violent crime via gunfire that's committed in the country, that's a pimple on the ass, Van Cat. I'm just using your logic against you is what I'm doing. So again, we're talking about 98% of gun owners in this country are what you say you want them to be. So us as gun owners, we have to limit our freedom. And again, I believe in red flag laws and all of that. You ain't gonna get no argument from me. But when it comes to mass production, which is we talking about an industry at the end of the day, Van Cat. Guns is big business, big business. So you want to limit the production of these weapons. Thus, when you limit production of something, what happened to that product? That means price go up.
Yep.
You want to limit access to free Americans based on the actions of the few. I don't think that's right, Van Cat. I just don't. I can't get jiggy with it, man.
So we talked about politics section last week. So we limit the viewing of pornographic material to underage people. We limit that because that's not legally who it's for. So we limit mass producing a bunch of weapons on the street. There's so much production that you don't even I ain't even talking about the criminals because those are a given. Those are a given. We're talking about unstable people. You know, how many people? I just had a situation in my job where somebody just snapped for no reason. I'm still trying to make heads or tails of what the hell that was. I ain't gonna get into it. I just don't understand how it went from 0 to 60 just like that for a situation I thought was just I know is not a big deal. Now introduce a gun in that person's situation. I'm not saying they're gonna do it, but I'm just saying I don't feel good about it. If they were able to snap like that so quickly, that's just insane to me. So, because again, people are human. I mean, people are people, and we know what people do. A lot of people are trash, and you put these weapons in an ordinary person's hands, especially that are unstable. And we have a lot of that out there in this country. 50,000 people a year killing themselves in this country alone. Half of that is from the guns was the weapon of choice to accomplish that feat. There's a lot of issues out here. So you're putting a weapon, which a gun just makes a soft sounding person to raise their voice, a shy person be brave. No, it's too easy, man. I'm just saying. You flood in the market. I don't really care if like a gun, if a person wants to own a gun, I don't care that they got to pay a whole bunch of money versus, I got it at a discount. I'm sorry, that don't move my world. The pricing has nothing to do with nothing for me. I just need to limit the amount of production so that it just don't bleed all out over the streets and it's just so excessive. And then the type of guns that are available are truly alarming because now you have high-powered machinery out there that's just accelerating the death toll whenever some idiot wants to snap. And now, if I go out to shop somewhere, or if I go to the movies, or if I go to the park, it could go down right then and there, and boom, with it's on. And I am not going to be listening to the NRA talking about a good guy with a gun who's going to come and save me. Superman ain't saving nobody, okay? Matter of
That's why
fact,
you
before
must be Superman.
yeah, whatever. They try to get out the holster and they shoot themselves in the leg like Cheddar Bob. I don't think so. I ain't trying to wait for Cheddar Bob to friggin' save me. If we're in another country, they don't have those issues, and it's obvious, man. It's obvious.
They playing Jason Voorhees on people out there. That's what they doing.
Well, I like that
I said,
better.
that's what you. I know you like that better.
I love that. I love that. That's a lot more personal to me.
Yeah, you rather have Castle Siege.
Yes.
Then hey.
Yes.
Agree to disagree, bro. Agree to disagree.
Come
That's
on.
all I can say.
Come on,
I
man.
like my arms and legs and hell, my head for that matter.
Yeah, you guys can be
You know
Clint
what I mean?
Eastwood on your own time. I ain't trying to be. I ain't trying to be here for all that.
Hey man, hey, it's gonna be an ongoing battle with me and Van Cat when it comes to guns. That's just what it is. That's just what it is. All right, so let's get into the show, and let's get into our leading story.
Now, this morning, President Trump says he will announce new tariffs on semiconductors and chips as soon as next week. This was in an interview with CNBC. He also said he plans to put a tariff on pharmaceuticals. Listen.
On pharmaceuticals, we'll be putting a initially small tariff on pharmaceuticals, but in 1 year, 1.5 years maximum, it's going to go to 150%, and then it's going to go to 250%. Because we want pharmaceuticals made in our country.
CBS News White House reporter Aaron Navarro can flesh this out for us, joining us from the White House North Lawn there. Good morning, Aaron. This is not the first time the president threatened pharmaceutical tariffs. So what might this mean for people who rely on medication, not just to stay comfortable, but to stay alive?
Yeah, Errol, at least in the long term, it could definitely increase the costs of these prescription drugs, the availability. But I say the long term because President Trump has really put this caveat of at least a year and a half before these tariffs are implemented. He says that this is to allow these pharmaceutical companies more time to physically relocate to the United States for more manufacturing, though that could take multiple years. And it's important to note that right now there aren't any blanket U.S. tariffs on pharmaceuticals. As part of that European Union United States trade deal last week, there was a 15% tariff specific for pharmaceuticals from Europe, and that is already a pretty dramatic increase from the 0% that it was before. But we've seen the administration take these procedural steps to get to a pharmaceutical tariff, sector specific. They launched in April what's known as a Section 232 investigation to determine if imports of pharmaceuticals from foreign countries is a threat to national security. That's kind of just the formal step before a bigger tariff is announced. But given this timeline, we won't really know the specific impacts of these tariffs until a year and a half, when President Trump says it'll skyrocket to at least 150%.
Even Big Pharma begged him not to, but Trump did it anyway. What did he do? Well, he put a 15% tariff on everything coming in from Europe, which includes 60% of America's pharmaceuticals. You got that? This is a sales tax. I mean, this year, tariffs are estimated to raise $171 billion. And, you know, as I mentioned, you know, there's Josh Hawley says we should write $600 checks to Trump voters, as it were. And Trump is saying he's going to use it to pay down the national debt so that there will be more money available to give more tax cuts to billionaires. But this is 100% of this is a tax cut on average working people. Millionaires and billionaires don't care what they pay for their drugs. If the cost of their asthma medication goes from $110 to $140, it doesn't matter to them. But it does to average working people. And, you know, Donald Trump is committed to making this situation even worse, this 15% deal. And by the way, it's just a framework. He He literally does not have a single tariff deal. Remember, he was going to have 100 deals in 100 days? Not one. What he has are agreements in principle. And the one with Japan just fell apart day before yesterday. The one with the UK is still in framework status. The one with the EU yesterday, it's a framework. I mean, it's just weird. But let's say it actually goes through. It actually happens. That Trump puts a 15% tax on all the pharmaceuticals coming into the United States from Europe, which, as I said, is 60% of all of our pharmaceuticals. That's $127 billion a year worth of drugs that we buy here in the United States that come from Europe. So what the price of what is going to go up? Well, Ozempic and Wegovy are manufactured in Denmark and Belgium. They're for diabetes and weight loss. Humira and Stelara for Crohn's disease, arthritis, psoriasis, produced in Ireland. Keytruda, even Botox and Viagra, you know, the favorite drugs down at Mar-a-Lago, they're all manufactured in Europe. And Trump's tariffs hit them all. And if you think that the drug companies are just going to absorb these tariffs, I got a bridge to sell you. I mean, Trump loves to boast about how he lowers drug prices. No, sorry, this tariff scheme could add $19 billion a year at retail to the cost of drugs in the United States. And the consequences of that are deadly. When drug prices go up, people start cutting their pills, they start reducing their doses, they start skipping their refills, they walk away from the pharmacy altogether. If you're diabetic and you can't afford your insulin, you could die. If you're fighting cancer and can't afford Keytruda, you could die. If your child needs Humira and you can't pay the new price, he could end up in the ER or worse. I mean, this is the pattern of Trump's second term. Policy as punishment.
Well, pharma stocks are on the move as well. Our Angelica Peebles has that story. Angelica.
Hey, John. Well, President Trump is sending letters to 17 pharmaceutical manufacturers, calling on those manufacturers to take voluntary actions within the next 60 days to lower the price of prescription drugs in the U.S. to similar prices around the world. So he's calling for four things. He wants these companies to extend most favored nation pricing to Medicaid. He also wants them to guarantee MFN pricing for newly launched drugs. He also wants them to return increased revenues abroad to American patients and taxpayers, and to provide for direct purchasing at MFN pricing. So these, obviously those are four different points. There's some details there. We'll have to see exactly if any of these companies agree to take those actions, and some of them could have varying degrees of impact, right? So guarantee MFN pricing for newly launched drugs, that would be a little bit tricky to actually implement because typically companies launch their drugs first in the U.S. So how do you compare a price here versus overseas when there is no overseas price? Now, it will be interesting, of course, to see how these companies respond. And as you go through some of the companies that he's making this plea to, we have Lilly, Pfizer, AbbVie. And in these letters, he's actually making a personal appeal to some of these companies. For example, Lilly CEO Dave Ricks, he crossed out Mr. Ricks and wrote David. So you can see that the pressure is increasing, guys.
Oh, for sure. All right, Angelica Peebles. Thank
All right, so you see the impact. You see the impact pharmaceuticals have on people, man. Like, a lot of people need these drugs. We got parents that rely on, hell, ourselves. You know what I'm saying? We rely on these the best case scenario when it comes to price. And hell, that ain't good for some people. You know what I mean? We understand how macroeconomics work. Because these products ain't domestically made, we get I don't want to say special, but we get preferable price when it comes to having it shipped overseas at a cheaper rate so we can buy it more cheaply. Vancat, just logical question. Let's say hypothetically the drug manufacturers do come to America. What's going to happen to the drug prices, Vancat?
if they come to America, it's supposed to go down.
How? That's not true. It's supposed to go down based off Trump's tariff philosophy.
Right.
In the real world, according to capitalism, that's complete opposite.
Right.
It'll go up drastically. And we know Trump. We know Trump is Taco Man.
Oh my
I
God.
like to be a taco man.
Yep.
So we know he don't hold his word, don't hold no weight. So we know if drug manufacturers come to the United States, you won't be able to afford no medication.
No.
Like at all.
No. No. And shout out to
go ahead.
Shout out to the guy that said the Viagra and the other drug
and the Botox.
And Botox, which are popular in
Tom,
hey,
if it's one progressive that I like, Tom Hartman, bro. He's the truth. Everybody go subscribe to the Tom Hartman show.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty as hell, man.
And he told the truth.
Yeah.
If based off these tariffs, the price gonna go up. If they come to America, the price will also go up.
That's
just what it is.
And the scariest thing people are not understanding is he's right. People are going to skip, cut, do whatever they have to make their pills stretch and last. And these are not designer jeans. These are not PlayStation 5s. These are things that are literally the difference between life and death. Certain prescriptions people can't do without. And to play this kind of dangerous game he's playing is going to cost people's lives. I remember a few years ago watching a story of a guy that had an insulin that he needed, and I guess the price went up, so he just started skipping the dosage. He ultimately died. Because he didn't have the right, he couldn't deviate from the strength he needed. But he figured if he just did that, he could stretch it out because he couldn't afford it. And he died. So, I mean, that's going to be commonplace. And again, this is how man, politics is so super important. And not understanding the big result of what you're voting for and playing identity politics and when I say identity politics, people like to point to the left and Democrats because they're standing up for LGBT and all these other things, black struggles and whatnot, and they think it's that. Identity politics definitely played on right. I think even more so than anything. And we got to acknowledge what is what. And I don't care about who the frig the person is in the government that is represented as long as they're executing. And we're not looking at it that way. We're doing sports teams, my team this, my team that. Especially places like Kentucky, you've been losing forever. You've been pouring goddamn you've been looking at all this trash out here, and you keep picking the same people to represent you, and they keep failing you, and you keep standing by it because you're playing for the red team. And that is so ignorant, man. You gotta hold these bastards accountable. So now you got this jackass in office right now, and nothing is going forward. We're at a standstill. You understand that right now we're just waiting to just how much can we take as far as every policy that Trump is implementing, and we got to survive that. And then once that's over, we got to start over, get a person in there to be represented to do the things we need done, and hope that that person follows through and fix what Trump doing to get caught up to doing what we already should have been doing. Because we went backwards. In that piece MD just played, you heard me talk about semiconductors. Well, who was the guy that just passed bills a few years ago to help the production of semiconductors and help with those job creations behind semiconductors? It was for Biden. So is that really like
Sleepy Joe?
Thing? Exactly. So, Biden did this, I'm going to do that. And that's the level of petty. So we're going to be struggling because we got an old guy, a 79 or 78-year-old mediocre, or 79-year-old mediocre white man that's just have grievances and wants revenge. So that's what you're supporting.
Hey, I couldn't have said it better myself. That's just what it is. Look, again, it's a lose-lose situation. It's a lose-lose situation. That's just a fact. Like I said, the tariffs, are going to spike the price. Bringing the manufacturing back. Again, we're not a manufacturing economy. We just ain't. I don't understand what people don't understand about that. Like, it's a benefit to us to not be a manufacturing economy because we get to buy shit for cheap. This is capitalism 101. You want to be the superior country by way of finance and economy so you can divvy off the legwork to everybody else. And then we can buy from them at a fraction of the cost. If pharmaceutical manufacturing came back to the United States, you're going to have to pay the workers. You understand that, right, Van Cat? They're not going to take the same hourly rate as somebody in Edinburgh in England would, because we understand how money works. Our money is superior than the pound, at last I checked. Oh, Van Cat, that's just what it is. So you're going to have to pay the workers a larger fee as a company. You have to pay the worker a larger fee, therefore spiking the price. It's as simple as that. I mean, this ain't rocket science, folks. It's not. I don't understand why you can't like wrap around that. And for all these MAGA maniacs, hell, even these black people, because black people are doing it too because they believe they got the shit in there to stick anyway. We're supposed to have these low-end jobs, which don't look low-end to the rest of the world because we make more money than the rest of the world. But they're there so you can have cheap shit. It's simple as that. That goes for anything that you buy. Drugs, general goods, electronics, all of that we benefit from because we pay the cheap price for the cheap labor. Now, ethically speaking, if you think that's right or wrong, totally different story. But I'm not talking ethics. I'm talking reality. And the reality is if those jobs come back to America, you might see double the price in your drugs that you got to use in order to survive. Because you're going to have to pay me to make the drug. And I ain't cheap. You got anything else on that, Van Cat?
No, you said it, man, and 100% right. It's a difference between the pay in Indonesia or China versus
anywhere
U.S. workers. That's
right.
for sure.
So that's just what it is. For I mean, I can't say it no different than that. So, but yeah, we can move on to the next story. This show might end up going pretty quick. Like I said, I only got 2 more stories to end it up. So let's get into fentanyl. Now, I think at this point, especially if you know people that live in rural areas, you probably know somebody that's been affected or even died. I do. I know a couple of people that died.
Wow.
From fentanyl. That's just what it is. Fentanyl, it's more than people shooting up or smoking blues or whatever. It's more that people are lacing weed with fentanyl now. That's just what it is. You know, is it a crisis? Yeah, it's most definitely a crisis. Do I believe a lot of the stuff Trump is doing is predicated around a falsity behind fentanyl? Absolutely. He's full of shit. It's Trump at the end of the day. Yeah. So let's take a look at fentanyl, its impact, and what's going on with it right now.
The decades-long opioid epidemic in the U.S. was once dominated by drugs like heroin and oxy. But with the rise of fentanyl, perhaps the most dangerous phase is now upon us. In the first 2 years of the pandemic, more people were killed by fentanyl than ever before. The COVID pandemic helped pave the way for fentanyl's ascent, as isolation and boredom drove people to substance abuse. There have been more than 165,000 opioid deaths since the start of COVID. Most of those deaths involved synthetic opioids like fentanyl. Fentanyl was first developed as a stronger kind of painkiller. It's cheap, and the street version is abundant. It's more than 100 times more powerful than morphine, and 50 times more powerful than heroin. Just 2 milligrams of fentanyl, around the size of a few grains of salt, can cause a fatal overdose. Fentanyl is now infiltrating other kinds of drugs, including heroin and cocaine, as well as counterfeit prescription pills. That means people with an opioid addiction are at risk, and so are users of cocaine, black market Adderall, meth, marijuana, and other substances. A powerful drug is often used to strengthen or stretch stockpiles of other illicit drugs. The precursor chemicals used to make fentanyl are also globally available. According to the Drug Enforcement Administration, a lot of illicit fentanyl is made abroad and smuggled into the U.S. through Mexico. In Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis has described the situation as a problem of law enforcement and border control. He has responded by increasing Florida's penalties for opioid sale and distribution. And he announced a program that connects patients with treatments like naltrexone and methadone to help treat addiction. Similar techniques like syringe exchanges are part of what's known as harm reduction, a movement to decrease the risks associated with drug use. But some harm reduction techniques have been rejected by conservative elected officials, who say they instead enable drug use. Another tactic is the distribution of fentanyl strips, which can be used to test for the powerful substance in other drugs. But the strips are considered illegal drug paraphernalia in about half of U.S. states, including Florida, according to Kaiser Health News. Florida's Republican-controlled legislature recently shut down an effort to change that. In Florida, which skews older and is more than a quarter Hispanic, most of those who are dying of opioid overdoses are white and more than half are younger than 45. But with fentanyl use on the upswing, the death rate among black people has overtaken white people, and overdoses among Native Americans are also increasing disproportionately.
Is it a drug war or a trade war? We've had a lot of tariff talk lately. That's because the Trump administration is using tariffs, they say, to pressure Canada and Mexico to stop illegal drugs, and in particular fentanyl, from entering the U.S. Now, no one wants fentanyl here. That shouldn't be here. It's a dangerously addictive synthetic opioid that over the last 20 years has killed, roughly 430,000 people, the whole category of illegal opioids. That's according to the CDC. And government data shows, here's the thing, a majority of the illicit fentanyl coming into the U.S. comes over the Mexican border. That's the seizure rate last year. Less than 1% was seized at the U.S.-Canada border. Canadian leaders looking at those numbers say, look, fentanyl concerns are a pretext for the Trump administration's tariffs. And yesterday, President Trump's top economic advisor said, no, they're not a pretext at all. The administration started a drug war, not a trade war, and claimed that Canada, despite those numbers, is more problematic than the data suggests. Take a listen.
I mean, Canada's not a major source at all of fentanyl in the United States, are they?
Well, yes, they are a major source. And I can tell you that in the Situation Room, I've seen photographs of fentanyl labs in Canada that the law enforcement folks were leaving alone. Canada's got a big drug problem, even in their own cities. Go walk around, Toronto and see what it's like, and you'll see that it is a big problem.
But we haven't seen an iconic streaming series about a Canadian fentanyl dealer yet. Joining us to talk about all this and whether it's the best approach to reducing drug deaths is a deputy director of the nonprofit Drug Policy Alliance and the author of The Harm Reduction Gap, Sheila Vicaria. Sheila, thank you very much for being here.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Fentanyl kills so many people. The whole family of opioids, illegal opioids. No one wants them here, but drug enforcement is always a question of, do you take on the supply or do you take on the demand? How do you feel about this effort to take on the supply?
Well, one thing that we know is that most of us are impacted by the overdose crisis, right? I myself am a social worker. I'm a former addiction treatment provider, and I'm someone who's lost loved ones to the overdose crisis. So I understand, like anyone else, that we are looking for solutions. But one thing that we know is that solutions that work are often grounded in public health and supporting the people who use drugs themselves. We are actually seeing declines in overdose deaths potentially for the first time since the beginning of the COVID-19 epidemic. We lost over 100,000 people to overdose 3 years in a row, and there's some signs that last year we saw reductions. And why did these reductions happen? It wasn't because we were proposing a war against our enemies. It isn't because against our allies, so-called calling them enemies, right? Or even proposing tariffs. It was because we invested in our communities at home. We used valuable resources from the federal government, the state governments, and local governments to provide access to life-saving supports. Naloxone, the opioid overdose reversal medication, is more available in our communities than ever. People can respond to overdoses in their own homes and save lives. Medications like buprenorphine and methadone, which are effective treatments for opioid addiction, cut the risk of overdose in half. More housing supports, more overdose prevention, more recovery supports, more veteran services. Those are what's saving lives.
But is it an either or here? I mean, you could do all those things that you say work and also cut down on the supply using tariffs. Do you think there's a role for that?
So the problem is that even the administration is pitching this to us as an either or because they want to fund more enforcement at the cost of treatment. And where they want to cut money is often from Medicaid, from SNAP. There's talks about cutting Social Security. There's talks about cutting Veterans Affairs and education. So actually, the administration is forcing us to choose between strategies that help Americans at home in their own communities or trying to look for a needle in the haystack at the border, trying to find a pack of fentanyl in someone's tire when we know that you could use that money, those trillions of dollars, to actually support our communities at home.
The Drug Policy Alliance calls the claim that tougher enforcement leads to safer outcomes simply a myth.
It is absolutely a myth because it redirects our energy away from the source of the driver of the drugs coming into the country. As long as drug demand exists, people are medicating pain, physical pain, emotional pain, stress, anxiety, instability with drugs. And as long as American people are using drugs to self-medicate, those cartels are going to find ways to bring drugs into the country. So there's only so much we can do at the border when we know that actually addressing drug demand, helping people who want to get off drugs, helping those who are using to be safer, and to connect them with resources in the community to get the help that they need.
Major update from the FDA today as health officials approve Narcan spray for over-the-counter non-prescription use.
News 8's Megan Bunchman has more on this story. Megan? When Narcan, or the generic drug naloxone, is administered to a person, the drug can rapidly reverse the effects of an opioid overdose, which means today's announcement from the FDA could be a major tool to fight the ongoing opioid epidemic nationwide.
Having access to this tool will save lives.
A big announcement from the FDA today, making Narcan the first naloxone product to be sold over the counter.
I'm elated and finally relieved that we're reducing barriers and hopefully reducing stigma.
Pharmacist Susan DeVeist Miller says this life-saving overdose reversal tool has proven to be a game changer when it comes to addressing the opioid epidemic.
If we can get it into the hands of the people who are using substances, we can prevent some of these deaths. And we know that if it gets into the hands of somebody who is not using opioids, it doesn't do much to them, meaning there's no effect unless somebody has an opioid in their system.
Kent County health records show there have been 203 drug overdose deaths in 2021 and 2022, with 158 of those being opioid-related deaths. It's a crisis Corewell Health knows all too well.
In 2022, we unfortunately had about 74 overdose that we could correlate with opioids.
While the timeline and rollout of the nasal spray Narcan will be determined by the manufacturers, the FDA recommended that it would be distributed at an affordable price.
What is affordable to some is not affordable to others. And I'm so pleased that we are removing one barrier. And I just want us to make sure that we are educating that there are opportunities to still get it for free through the community resources.
Community resources like the Red Project, which has installed several free Narcan ATM machines throughout Kent and Malcolm counties. And at Corewell Health, nurse educator Dan Wickland says patients can simply walk into local providers and request a free kit.
When we're engaging people with Narcan, what we're hoping to do is to reduce their initial risk and exposure to that opioid overdose event, but also giving them an opportunity to engage with our addiction specialists and get the care that they need in the future.
Just this year, more than 79,000 Narcan kits have been distributed by the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
All right, so talking about fentanyl, again, it's a devastating drug. You heard in the report, only a couple of grains comparative to a couple of grains of salt can kill you.
Which is scary.
And we know it's real scary. Now, we know, and you know, and I'm talking to, you know, my former drug dealers. You know, whatever you can use to stretch something to make money, you're gonna do it.
Yep.
And that's what's happening in our hoods. Like I said, when I was researching to put this together, and I found out that now black folks are dying at a greater rate than white folks from fentanyl. I said, God, it's bad. I remember when the fentanyl first hit. What did we say, Van Cat? We said, oh, that's some
White people
redneck
stuff.
cracker drug. Yeah.
Yep.
You know, they dying off fentanyl.
Yep.
This is not the case no more. Why? Because now drug dealers are seeing, hey, I can stretch this dope out with this fentanyl. And you know, people that strung out on crack, coke heads, pill poppers, they dying left and right. Even now, like I said, people are lacing their weed with it. And I used to get real high, Van Cat. I used to get like very high off various drugs. Ain't no way in hell I'll take any type of recreational drug at this moment. Ain't no way. I can't do it.
You don't know what you're gonna get.
And like I said, exactly. I got some crazy ass kids, but even my kids, because they understand the dangers. Because like I said, we've had people that we know in our family die from this shit.
Wow.
They like, hey man, I don't want to partake. I'm straight. You know what I'm saying? So at least I got that comfort of knowing, hey, look, my kids ain't stupid. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You put something in front of me, I just ain't gonna inhale it or sniff it or do whatever. So I'm grateful for that. But hey man, this fentanyl, and again, I'm all for any effort to try to stop the threat of fentanyl. Don't get it twisted. What I'm not for is the I don't even know how you would say it. The politicization. Yeah, politicization of it in regards of heinous acts and nefarious means.
Right.
So why would you have something as simple as a fentanyl strip, something that you can test?
Yeah.
To see why would you count that as contraband? That's the most idiotic thing I ever heard in my life.
Yep, that's about
ain't
right.
The whole goal. Ain't that's the whole goal of trying to stop people from dying from fentanyl?
Mm-hmm.
Because you ain't gonna stop nobody from doing no drugs. You can kill that. That ain't happening. I don't care what you do.
That would be like hey, we need to stop all the premarital sex, so we're gonna ban all the testing for pregnancies. Like, it just don't make sense. It don't make sense.
It's idiotic.
Oh God.
And right, and as we know, last year, Biden via the FDA under Biden, they approved Narcan over the counter. I looked up the price. I didn't put it in the piece. The average price for Narcan, like at a CVS or Walgreens, is like around $50 for a kit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I'm a dope head, and you know I don't want to die, you know, well some might, I don't know, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I think I would invest in at least having one Narcan kit on me in the event of, hey, look, if we're sitting here smoking this crack, break glass in case of emergency. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, and like the lady said, there's public resources where you can get the shit for free.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? It's various clinics and missions. Like, hey man, hey look, I know you're gonna do what you're gonna do. Here, take this. You know what I'm saying? Just like what you remember, they made a fuss when Biden had approved the syringes. You remember that?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. What? You're not. I don't care who you are, conservative, liberal. You ain't stopping drugs, bro. It's just not happening. I don't give a damn what you do. So at the very least, you can try to stop somebody from dying or getting infected by something. At the very least.
Right.
At the very least. Go ahead, Venkat.
It's stunningly absurd. And of course, Florida is always on the forefront of the dumbness. Ron DeSantis, another incompetent piece of trash that's just not leading anything. He just stands on his, I think the world is this way, and that's the way it is. And like, we're not hearing any arguments, counter, pro, or whatnot, and then making an educated, poignant decision from the facts that you get It's just he's going this way with it, and that's it. And again, Florida will religiously keep picking Republicans because they're playing on a team. Meanwhile, the people they put in there are not doing overall the best for you. So some people are very selfish, right? So, they may not have, like, I don't use, I'm straight edge. I'm straight edge. I don't have a drug issue. Never have, never will. I don't drink coffee. I don't drink beer. I don't drink wine. I don't do anything liquor. I don't take drugs. I don't do any of that stuff. But I still see the issue, the public health issue in overall, where it can always affect you in some way, whether it's a person that gets into a car accident because they're mentally impaired from drugs that they may be on, a fight can break out. You never know what it is. That shouldn't be the reason to act on these things, that because you may face a consequence indirectly or whatnot. You should just be like, this is a human issue and we need to do what's logical and most sound for the majority of the people. We're not doing policies like that. We're leaning on these ideologies that can be very selfish in nature, and in the end, there's no outcome. So we got all these people dying left and right, and some people are like, well, it's just that way, so it's just that group, and we just keep losing lives. We got all these disposable lives here, from homelessness to drugs to everything else under the blue moon. At some point, we got to be able to look at it and be like, this is not working, and we need a different point of view. That's the reason why I am progressive, I am democratic and whatnot, because ironically, when I was younger, you would say I would be more conservative because that just seems to be the only way. But once you start living life and noticing things, you start to realize the other side may have other ideas that'll work. Yes, your face. No.
Hey, I ain't saying nothing. I ain't saying nothing.
Oh, your face say everything. But we'll have other ideas that are like not on the norm, but may work. So we need to look at every logical aspect of what can help with these issues. But what will not help is the same old, same old. It's just not going to be right. If a person's on drugs, maybe we need to give them the drugs in a safe environment. That sounds like, wow, why would you give somebody drugs? And then you go all over the place. But there's a reason for it. And you can minimize the amount of people using. You can minimize the amount of people that are witnessing they doing it, and then the other people starts to do it, and it becomes this never-ending cycle. We need to address the issue straight up rather than just pushing it aside and hoping it corrects itself, because it's never going to correct itself. But I don't think people... Yeah, go ahead.
No, finish up. Then I want to ask you something.
Yeah, I just think that we just need to do bold action to deal with a problem once and for all. You see what Trump is doing with homelessness. He's talking about homelessness, but he has not one plan to address homelessness. He's just talking about pushing people around, intimidation, and moving them out of a space. That does not solve homelessness. They're still homeless. And pretending that they're not homeless by calling them unhoused, that's not helping the situation either. We actually need to really address issues.
I agree with that. That's something that you need to talk to your progressive friends about.
They get mad.
They get mad at you when you say homeless. Not homeless, is unhoused. Tomato. You ain't doing shit about it. So,
yep. I agree.
But I wanted to ask you, and I guess you could call this a sidebar. I smell a little bit of contradiction on you, Venkat.
Go ahead.
Now, in the headline segment, when we were talking about the Minneapolis shooting,
yep,
you said that we need to stop the mass production of said weapon, and that'll alleviate the problem. But when it comes to this, essentially the same situation. You got an overabundance of drugs coming in. and I'm not saying that you're saying enable them because it's not enabling. It's just folks gonna smoke or shoot or sniff or do whatever. There's nothing that you can do to stop it. Similarly, there's nothing that you can do to stop people from buying weapons. It's called freedom at the end of the day. And at the very least, we can put measures around the situation in order to alleviate you violating the rights of somebody else, a la stealing from them, hurting them, mugging them to get what you need for drugs, or buying dirty dope, similar to the situation with guns. What are you going to do to set the parameters to protect everybody else? Because you're not going to stop the production of the gun. You're not going to stop somebody from buying the gun. Instill the freedom upon the law-abiding. So it's a similar situation, yet you have different, almost opposite solutions for similar problems. I'm confused by that, Venkat.
Okay, so what it is that they're not necessarily similar. In the difference being, wanting to own a gun isn't the same as chemically in your body
wanting to smoke the dope.
Exactly, because that's a difference, right? The need or want to have a gun has nothing to do with your chemical makeup inside your body. Whereas inside your body, when you're addicted to drugs and whatnot, it changes your hormone levels and all these things that create a want and a need that is way different. It's way different. It's like the hunger feeling for food versus I want to buy a movie or a car or something. There's two totally different things. Internally, there's a lot different going on versus the other thing. So it's not the same. And what I'm talking about is if a person has a drug habit and it's really bad, maybe isolating them in a spot and giving them a drugs in a controlled environment, where you just talked about how people are lacing drugs with other things that are getting them killed, not in a place where it's more supervised and safer. And while they're getting it, they're helping them wean off the drug bit by bit, lowering dosage, doing things of that nature to help wean them off. So it's like, yeah, they're getting the drug, and over a set period of time, they will be weaned off the drug. That is more helpful than saying throw a bunch of drugs out there, which is not what I'm saying. It's targeted and it's a deliberate effort to solve the problem. So it's not the same.
Oh, okay. So okay, we'll agree to disagree, because I wasn't necessarily saying that the problem to the solution is just to give everybody dope. I'm not saying that, of course not. What I'm saying is again, it's not enabling. You basically alleviate a problem that's associated with the want and the need. Whether it's chemically induced or not, that ain't my issue. My issue
That's
is
my issue.
Well, I mean, it's not to be stopped. That's just what it is.
So when a person has diabetes and they have what's called insulin resistance, when you're in that mode of insulin resistance, it keeps you craving for more bad foods and sugar foods. That is completely different with a person that doesn't have insulin resistance that wants to eat, whatever crap they want to eat.
They willfully do it. Willfully.
Right. It's a completely in the body. It's completely different. There's a way different struggle going on versus a person that's not in that space with the insulin resistance, and it's a loser battle you're facing internally in your own body. That's a bigger fight that people don't understand. All fat people aren't the same. There's like legit fat, and then there's other people. It's a different thing, and we I guess as a society we're not there. We don't understand that, and it's hard to explain because there's a lot of words that have to go into it, and then the willingness for people to accept what is being said. It's just a whole mess. Yeah. So, I understand it. I know what's going on.
Yeah, I looking at it that way, I agree. But I'm trying to put it in the parameters of what the situation could be to mitigate an issue. Again, we're not talking about whether it's chemically induced or not. I totally understand what you're saying and agree. But when you talk about somebody willfully doing something versus not having the cognitive will to stop doing something,
right?
The situations around mitigation are similar in regards to what you need to do. Again, if you take the example of the diabetes or whatever and the insulin resistance, what breaks a wheel versus what helps a person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or in the situation again with the Minnesota shooting,
right?
That person knew exactly what was going on. We don't know what his headspace was. Let me make that perfectly clear. But does that take away the freedom to act upon something versus counteract? I think we gotta focus, just like on the drug situation, the counteraction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's similar to me. Now the counteraction don't have to involve taking a person's freedom away with pre-intention. That's all I'm saying. So I mean, look, we always gonna disagree on it. So it ain't like it really. I mean, it just is what it is. But it's an interesting topic, and
yep, it is.
There's no way that you wouldn't have things like Narcan and things that'll be able to stop death from taking place, because you're not going to be able to stop the wants and the needs, whether it's through free will or otherwise. That's just what it is. But in any event, okay. So let's get to weed. Like I said, that the nigga's favorite drug, weed. I stopped smoking the weed a long time ago. Hell, it got to be over 15 years now. I like money too much. If it's something that's gonna enable me from getting a job or some shit like that, I'm not gonna do it. Now you got some Negroes, they gonna do whatever they got to do in their power to still smoke the weed while still holding some type of financial life. They go through all. Van Cat, I know they go through all kind of measures to make sure they got. I got this fake piss, or or tell your little cousin or your nephew here, or even your child here, piss in this damn Ziploc bag, and I'm like, bro, is it that serious? Is it that serious to smoke a blunt?
That's a lot of dedication.
I mean, I can't make heads or tails of it, bro. I mean, damn. Like I said, I used to get high, like real high, but it ain't that serious to me, bro. So let's look at marijuana. First of all, let me ask you this: do you think, and I believe that it is, at any point in time in the near future, do you think they're just gonna go and flat out legalize it? I don't see why not.
Yes, they should. They should. Yes, I do feel like it's going to happen.
Yeah,
and it should
at
happen.
this point,
it should happen.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
this is
like
from
I said,
a person
studies,
that's not a smoker. I don't use drugs or whatnot. But if you're gonna pick on a drug, marijuana is not the drug to pick on. Like, because it actually has benefits too.
Yeah. It's got medicinal benefits, and at the same time, people believe that, okay, let's say Trump say, hey, look, we discategorizing marijuana is not a scheduled drug anymore. Do what the hell you want to do. Niggas gonna be out in the streets partying. But dumbass, the private companies still dictate their drug policy. They can still tell you, hey, look, it's legal, but you ain't gonna be smoking here. We gonna piss test.
Right.
That's just like saying That's just like saying, okay, prohibition ended in the 30s. While I sit at my desk or whatever type of job, I'm gonna drink this tall can. You can't do that. You know what I'm saying? So, again, hey, do what you do, smoke it if you got it, I guess. But just understand the legalities and the parameters surrounding it. Let's take a look at weed and what's going on with it today. Also, what are some of the loopholes with a lot of this synthetic stuff that we're talking about today? Let's take a look at that.
Some people hate the whole concept of marijuana because if it does bad for the children, it does bad for people that are older than children. But we're looking at reclassification, and we'll make a determination over the next few weeks.
That was President Trump last week, promising answers soon on a major potential shift in national drug policy. John Yang is here with what that long-anticipated change could mean for marijuana users, businesses, and research. John?
Jeff, the Federal Drug Enforcement Administration puts drugs into 5 categories, what are called schedules. It's based on their medical value and potential for abuse and addiction. Right now, marijuana is in the most restrictive category, Schedule 1. That's the same category as heroin and LSD. Schedule 2 includes fentanyl and cocaine. 3, Tylenol with codeine, steroids, and testosterone. 4, Xanax and Valium. And 5, over-the-counter medications like Robitussin. Last year, the Biden administration proposed moving marijuana from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3. That wouldn't make it legal on the federal level, but would ease federal restrictions. Bo Kilmer is the co-director of RAND's Drug Policy Research Center. Mr. Kilmer, I want to examine what this would do, moving from 1 to 3, what it would do for various groups. First of all, what would it do for individuals, whether they're using marijuana recreationally or for medicinal purposes?
It wouldn't make much of a difference. Realize that while 24 states have legalized cannabis for adult use, and we've got 40 states that legalize it for medical use, all of that activity at the state level is still illegal under federal law. So if we were to move at the federal level from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, that wouldn't necessarily change what's happening at the state level.
And then for businesses that sell dispensaries or other businesses that sell marijuana.
They would benefit from this. There's a part of the Internal Revenue Code or the tax code which specifically says that if a entity is trafficking a Schedule 1 or Schedule 2 drug, that means that they can't deduct normal business expenses on their federal taxes. So if you were to move cannabis from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, those businesses would then be allowed to deduct those expenses. They'd make more money. And on the public health side, there's a concern that what that would mean is that these businesses would then be able to write off advertising and marketing. So we'd see more promotion.
And what about for medical research and pharmaceutical companies?
Yeah, so in general, you can do research on Schedule 1 drugs, but it turns out there are a lot of hoops that you need to jump through. And so in general, if you move from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, it should reduce some of those restrictions, reduce some of those administrative barriers. However, the Congressional Research Service came out last year and said, look, there was a law that was passed or a bill signed into law in 2022, which was specific to doing research on cannabis. And so their takeaway on this is that moving cannabis from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 isn't going to make much of a difference. That said, some may argue that by moving it from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, there could be less stigma, so some researchers may be more likely to get involved. But even if on the margins this reduces administrative barriers, and if more people get involved or want to get involved in research, the bottom line is who's going to pay for it? The National Institutes of Health, they fund a lot of the research on cannabis. And so a big question remains is, will there be money there to support this research?
The Gallup poll has been asking this question about public support for legalizing marijuana for some time. In 1969, only 12% supported that position. By 2023, 70% supported it. You've been studying drug policy for 20 years. How has the politics of this issue changed?
It definitely has become more bipartisan or nonpartisan over time. Early on, this was much more kind of a liberal or left issue, and definitely is much more mainstream today.
Given the fact that the president doesn't use alcohol and talks about the effect of alcohol on his brother, Fred, does it surprise you that he's coming out talking about reclassifying marijuana?
Not necessarily. People have been just talking about rescheduling cannabis for decades. And, in the previous administration, they were taking this seriously. It stalled out, at the end of the administration. So it's not surprising that this is a topic of conversation, especially given where public support is for legalization.
In 2022, Gallup found that very slim majorities said that marijuana negatively affected both society and individuals. What do we know about the health effects of marijuana use?
Like alcohol, most people who use cannabis don't run into problems, and some of them actually do benefit, for potentially from medicinal purposes. But that doesn't mean that there aren't any risks or people don't run into problems, especially for those who use frequently and then are using kind of higher potency cannabis. There are many issues here. For example, impaired driving. There's increased evidence of cardiovascular risk for frequent users. And then there are also mental health concerns, especially for youth and young adults who are frequently using these higher potency products. The thing to keep in mind is a lot of the research that's been done on cannabis isn't necessarily based on the products that are being sold in stores. And this needs to change. But stepping back, allowing some of these higher potency products, that really is a policy choice. Policymakers could decide not to allow those products to be sold. Or if they do, they could, implement THC caps, or they could tax cannabis in a way that nudges people towards some of those lower potency products. There are pros and cons with all of these different policy levers, but this is something that should be part of our cannabis discussions.
Edible arrangements can now get you high on edibles. Edible Brands, the parent company of the fruit basket outfit Edible Arrangements, is taking a bite of the cannabis industry. The Georgia-based company, which had $500 million in annual sales last year, launched edibles.com last week, an e-commerce site that sells hemp-derived THC products made by some of the biggest brands in the marijuana industry, including Wana, Kiva, and Can. Edible Brands is not selling marijuana, which is federally illegal, but is focusing on THC products derived from hemp, marijuana's less potent and federally legal cannabis cousin. But these products are still strong enough to get customers stoned. Edible Brands CEO Samia Fareed Silber tells Forbes, quote, "This is a really natural fit for us. We're already called edible, right? We know that sometimes there's even a little bit of an expectation from a customer for cannabis products." Edibles.com, which the company acquired last year, will launch in Texas first, but will soon expand to Georgia, Florida, North and South Carolina, and expects to go nationwide later this year. With its network of more than 700 Edible Arrangements stores, the company says customers can order online and get their cannabis products delivered to their door faster than an old-school pot dealer. Silber says, quote, "We have an incredible delivery network with our franchisees for fulfillment. We can reach 70% of U.S. households within an hour."
Legal products that contain the same active ingredient as marijuana are one of 6 emerging hazards.
Many of the products are marketed to children, and you can find them everywhere. WREL Investigates Sarah Kruger bought some of those products and had them tested. Sarah, what did you find?
Deborah, the main lesson is watch out. They're marketed with names that many parents are probably familiar with now, like Delta 8 and Delta 9. You can find them in gummies, vapes, cookies, and more, and they promise a legal high. We found what you see on the label isn't usually what you get.
These are all psychoactive substances.
Call it over-the-counter marijuana light, and you can find it in gas stations, smoke shops, and more.
4 of the 5 are not legal products in North Carolina, and 4 of the 5 are not labeled properly.
Did that result surprise you?
No.
They surprised us. The gold silver gummies were mislabeled as far as the type of THC, and they were over the limit for THC content. The insane gummies only contained 1 of 3 products on the label, but they were under the legal limit. The Sweet Tooth vape was mislabeled and 2 times over the THC limit. The Delta 10 cake vape had no Delta 10, but was still 3 times over the limit. Finally, this smokable moon rock pre-roll was the only thing properly labeled, but get this, it was 10 times over the THC threshold.
Incredibly not a legal product.
So this product was 10 times the legal limit. What's the difference between that and marijuana?
Absolutely nothing.
All right, so there you have it. Talking about weed again. If you get high, hey, fine. Ain't it is what it is. Some people find benefit to it. Some people don't. See, I was the type of guy. Like I said, I used to get high on a lot of shit. I was an upper guy. You know what I mean? I used to take bumps and do all. When it came to weed, I was slow as a snail. I was gone. I couldn't do nothing. Some people are active smoke. I don't see how. They active smokers. You know what I'm saying? They can go about their day and be productive and run errands. I can't do shit. That's just I'm gone. Now that of course depends on the strand. But when it comes to weed legalization, it's 2025. The data is there to support it from an addiction level, various other parameters. Go ahead and legalize it. They told you once you declassify from a I believe it's a 1 now to a 3 that they were saying in the piece. The companies can write stuff off. So of course the companies want it because then they can get tax write-off. So that's a plus. Is it a plus for the government though? So we'll see what happens. But a lot of people are resorting to these vape pens, these THC pens. You can go to any corner store in America and go buy a THC pen right now. And they just showed you in the piece right there. And I wouldn't even trust those, to be honest with you, because they're not regulated in any type of way. Just like you can go get the Rhino pill or the Black Gold, the Honey Pack. Ain't none of that stuff medically regulated or medically tested. You don't know what the hell you're doing. And what did we see about 10 years ago, Van Cat and Ricardo? And peace to Ricardo, I'm going to let you go first. What did we see about 10 years ago? The K2 epidemic, where we saw all these videos on YouTube with niggas running down the street butt naked, running into oncoming traffic, doing all type of crazy shit just by smoking some K2 that they bought from the BP or the 7-Eleven or whatever. Ain't no way in hell. So not only do you got to tackle what are you going to do surrounding the legalization of the actual plant, the marijuana plant, you're going to have to tackle what you're going to do with this Delta 88 or whatever the fuck it's called, and this Kratom and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? But peace, Ricardo, what's happening?
I'm good. Sorry for being late, y'all. Yeah, this should be a very interesting topic. I think, if correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't believe looking back in history. Peace to everybody, Backhead and MD and Bones and everybody that's listening. I think marijuana at one point wasn't illegal. I think it was criminalized. If I remember well, don't quote me. I think I was remembering, trying to remember why it became criminalized. Back in the day, it was a drug that was recreational, I believe. I can't remember what the timeline was when they actually make it criminalized, but I believe it was very profitable because it was so accessible, mostly to the Black community as well as the Hispanic community. And when they realized, white supremacy again, realized that the powers to be realized they couldn't, or rather we shouldn't be getting so much usage out of the fact that it's so readily accessible, they went ahead and criminalized it, which was strange. Because then at that point they had control over the whole aspect of, okay, well, if we criminalize it, then, so and so, these people won't be able to get the profitability after of it. I think that's what came to be. Don't quote me, but I think that's how it went. Can't remember what year it was, but it was so long ago when I did the research or when I was doing the paper on this, and there was a whole plethora of things that came about in regards to this. But I believe that's not what happened. The greater question now is what you were asking: should it be legalized? Absolutely. What are we doing now? Like, this is getting ridiculous at this point. Is it that bad where we're gonna go? It's detrimental that you shouldn't decriminalize it. Nah, I mean, almost everybody I know. I mean, I used to. I don't know about Van. I know MD just admitted, but I used to smoke weed. I don't think it's bad. You know, it's you know, some people who are medically inclined at this point who need the assistance, you probably would see the benefits of having usage of weed. Furthermore, I'm from a country that smokes it. You know, one of my reggae artists, Bob Marley, if you know him, um, saying or spoke about using weed as a recreational drug. I mean, it's not that bad. People fly into my country all the time just to, I mean, they ask me, and I'm like, I don't know where for you to be able to access to get that. But, there's plenty of other places that you could, get it. It's not a bad thing. Would the government allow it though? I don't believe so. The reason being is we're going to have to look at the legalities of this, MD, because then you'd have to then go back into the history books and then try to pardon those people that they've arrested or put in jail over time because of the usage of marijuana or the other drugs that they've criminalized. Then you have to go back and then take them out. So if they're in jail now, how do you then navigate into that aspect of, okay, so they've been in jails for 20 years for having weed possession on them or or having it distributed, or how would that work? That's I believe the issue that the government's going to have when, if and when, 'cause it's not a question of if, it's a question of when they decide to legalize it again. That's where the legalities come into play, and I think that's the hard time that they're having. Then again, you have these fringe groups or the set of people that and we all know who they are. Oh my God, it's bad for the children. Once you put children in any connotation, it becomes a thing where it's like, oh, you got to think about them. And mind you, some people are using it again behind closed doors. It's the same play that we've had for years when they talk about when it came to pornography. It was one, oh my God, what happens now is people going to start doing pornography behind. I mean, you still can't stop people from watching nudity or seeing nudity or whatnot. It's there. It's up to your discretion of making sure you let if you don't want certain people to have accessibility to it, let them know, hey, this is what is going to be happening. Movies had to put in disclaimers, all of that. That's there. You can't hide what is coming down the road. I mean, if that makes sense, you can't just keep a blockage because to you it makes sense. It's what's accessibility is there. So in hindsight, you just have to tell, or if it's the problem is that you're going to be like, oh, the children is going to get accessibility to it, or this is going to be bad, or like MG said, once this goes into fruition, people might start running butt naked and going crazy. There's disclaimers to everything. You just have to know your limit, know what is, your limit in terms of limitation wise, what shouldn't and should aid or what wouldn't aid you, whatever. But at this point in time, we can't keep going down this road of kicking the can of saying, weed is bad, bad, bad. At some point in time, I mean, we've seen states now like Colorado, we've seen states that are now allowing slowly giving the accessibility of saying, hey, we're gonna do such and such. It's still in the legality sense of it that I think you can sell it. I don't know. I don't know the whole legalities of this, Emily. That's where you come in terms of you can access it, but you can't sell it for profitability use. I don't know how that whole thing works, but at some point in time, the whole country, because I know I'm going off because I'm just come from work. Didn't we have this on our ballots as well? Because I think it comes down to state rights as well, Van, where we were asking in the election last year, do we want to legalize it? And they kept running this campaign where they're like, it's bad for you. Don't make Florida's going to become one of those states where, they're going to be smoking weed every day. And so it wasn't it never passed because it was there. It literally was at our fingertips where they were good. Everybody was gonna vote yes on it, and they kept putting like DeSantis put out the campaign ads, and it just kept running, and people were like, yeah, and we're not gonna legalize it. So it's gonna come down to placing it on the ballots. It should have been an election thing where we all voted for it, but I don't know what happened to that. So we'll see. There's so much that goes into this, but legality wise, I think there's so much limitations to it, and that's what's gonna possibly become the roadblock as to why it won't go through. But that's what I'm saying. I don't know about the masses, but we'll see. That's where that's all I have right now.
All right, cool. So let me say this, and I'm gonna let Vancat go. So you see, I got up on the screen. There was a classic film that was released in the 1950s, I believe, called Reefer Madness. The whole thing with weed in its early stages, you had something that was called the beatnik era, which was basically the precursor for hippies. And everybody, all the white folks was getting high, and we talking about at this time, these would have been your early boomers. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was getting high, riding around the cow. It was kind of like Happy Days. That's what Fonzie would have been a beatnik if we gonna put it into perspective. They were smoking weed. Now I don't know where they was getting it from. It could be where black folks and Hispanics was selling it to them. I don't know exactly where it came from, but it was the thing in the 1950s for young white people. It was a thing. So the government, alongside with other propagandists, did this whole campaign.
Facts.
Talking about reef. In actuality, in the 1950s, I think weed was classified as a psychedelic.
Yes, it was.
Just like LSD or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
It was.
That's another thing. LSD had popped off at that time too. So they was dropping acid and smoking weed. That's what they were doing. The young kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Hey,
Hollywood
that's
knows.
something. Hey, I dropped acid one time. I'll never do that shit again, ever. I was like 18. I was like, whoa, no, hell no. Some of the shit I thought I was in hell. Some of the shit I saw with my own two eyes. I like, yeah, acid ain't for black folk. At least it ain't for me. But they was dropping acid and they was smoking weed. And then those people later on became the manifestation of the hippie movement in the 60s and the early 70s.
Not the hippies.
That's how it did. So the government, alongside with movie producers and public health organizations, came up with Reefer Madness, which was a movie. It was a movie that they made. Basically, it was a big ass what they used to call after school special is what it was, really. So, it was actually white folk. Again, where they got the weed from, I don't know. It could have been a possibility that we were selling it to them. I mean,
Yes.
hell, historically, we sold them the drugs any damn way. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, I just wanted to put that out there as a historical reference. Because again, you hit it on the head. That was important. Go ahead, Venkat.
Well, yeah, that Reefer Madness movie or documentary, notorious for having the most ridiculous, antidotes about what weed is, what it does. It was a propaganda piece, is what it was in that day.
Yep.
And that legacy reigns on today. As we lived through a lot of propaganda pieces, but that's one of your early illustration of an industry or group of individuals making content to sway public opinion of something, and gleefully and and wildfully just ignorant and stupid, especially when you watch it from today's lens. What they're saying in the movie, it's just comical in nature.
Yeah. Hey, Bones, you absolutely right. Because again, in the 50s is when the manifestation of rock and roll happened. Like it was the 50s was kind of like I'm trying to compare it to something. it was a cultural revolution that was happening in the 50s. You got to remember, all these kids came back from World War II or whatever, and had all these babies, and the money was plentiful. You could have a job, just the father would work, and y'all could have a big ass, well, not big, but a house. Hell, just a house you can't get these days, but you get a house and a car and the white picket fence and all this stuff. The boomers, and this we need to do a whole show on this. The boomers had it made, bro. There is no greater generation in this country greater than the boomer generation. At the same time, they are the worst generation to ever exist in America because they failed everybody else. They failed the future, basically.
Facts.
They had it made, bro, to the point where they could kick back and drop acid and smoke weed. A regular person couldn't do that in any other generation than the boom generation because they had it so good. They was living high, like real high, on the hog.
Would Bill Maher be in the boomer generation? I think he is, right?
Shit, I don't know. How old is Bill Maher?
That's a good question.
Is he Bill Maher in his 60s, ain't he? Is he that old?
He has to be. Yeah, he has to be. He would qualify for boomer, right?
No, that's Gen X. That's early Gen X. I mean, it's Gen Xers right now.
I'm Gen X. I'm Gen X.
My mom is Gen X, born in the 60s. Like I think Gen X start in like 65, I think.
Yeah, well, Bill Maher is older than the 60s.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. Let me look it up right now.
I don't think Bill Maher is as young as you think.
Bill Maher age. I'm looking it up right now. He's 69 years old.
Oh damn, he's actually old.
So he Bill Maher might be a late
boomer.
like real. Yeah, he a late boomer. He caught it like maybe the last 1 or 2 years.
So he was able to experience and take advantage of all those bills and things that were for let's be real, white boomers, because not all boomers are the same.
You're right.
Blacks ain't booming nothing.
Black boom. No, I disagree with that though, Venkat. Black boomers had it made. Now they had it made under Jim Crow, but they also had it made as far as like employment and all that stuff. The black boomers did not have the same opportunities as white boomers. That I get that. At the same time, as far as and I don't want to say wealth because that'll be the wrong word. But as far as like employment and income generation, they still had it better than any other generation. That's a fact. They just got called nigger. That's the only difference. And they couldn't go in certain restaurants and bathrooms and shit. But they still had a good ass job where they had a house and a car and all that shit just like anybody else.
And the boomers also had the benefit of the GI Bill, which paid for their education.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're right.
Which is not around today. Today. And they rag on these Gen Z people and say they do nothing. But this current generation has gotten little to nothing. They've gone from one catastrophe to the next. 9/11, financial collapse of 2008. You got the freaking COVID. All these catastrophic economical tsunamis.
The .com.
And they legislatively they get no help, no bills that are like no bills focused on helping to prop them up on any level. The employment opportunities and the type of quality of jobs that are out there is just straight ass. And then they're being told they're lazy and all these other things. Like it's just bull. There's issues with this generation, but you cannot deny the stuff put on this current generation. And the boomers are the ones that levy the most criticism when, in essence, they're part of the problem of where we are today.
Well, let me correct one thing.
Go ahead.
So it wasn't the boomers that benefited from the GI Bill. It was the generation before them. I think the GI Bill ended like in the late 50s. But they reaped they reaped the benefits of all that free money that the last generation got when they got back from the war. That ain't no question. The boomers, they say that the boomers are the most educated, the most creative, all of that stuff, because they had the free time to do shit that other generations didn't have. Bones brought up the rock movement. All this shit was happening because they were afforded a life, basically. You know what I'm saying? So I don't disagree with you in that aspect, Van Cat. They were reaping the benefits of their parents post World War II. That's a fact. So they were able to be creative and do all types of shit. Oh wow. Okay. And do dope and do all, you know what I'm saying? So in that aspect, you're 100% right. But they dropped the bag. They dropped the bag like real bad. Because they saw under their nose, they saw society deteriorate to what we see today. That's a fact. They even a lot of boomers to this day. I'll even put people in my family as part of this.
But
they inherited, huh?
No, I was gonna say, but they are also the ones that talk about, we should go back to how it was back in the day when it was so much like better and we had
impossible,
and this and that, and you're saying to yourself, but wait, what are you talking about? Because gas price would have been like what, 10 cents per gallon or whatever, or not even 10 cents, probably 5, and you guys had it easy, sure. But you, with the progression of society over time, it would have become more expensive for us that are now going through it more. So,
but that's why they failed us, though, Ricardo. That's what I'm telling you. They didn't maintain the economic, because inflation. I mean, it's inevitable. Inflation is gonna make shit go up. I'm not sitting here expecting that I should be paying 10 cents for gas or 5 cents for a soda pop. That's dumb. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, that's true.
But you failed to maintain the economic stability for everybody else in the future.
That followed behind.
Failed.
Yep.
You failed to do it. Look at all these black neighborhoods. Now I'm talking specifically black people. Look at all the black neighborhoods across America that's dilapidated, fucked up. They the hood now. The reason that they a hood now because you fail to maintain that community when it was great in your time. That community was once middle class. Everybody had shit. When you buy a house, and like I said, I'm not a homeowner, so I ain't gonna act like I know everything. But I do know when you buy a house, you gotta quote unquote keep up with the Joneses as far as making sure your sole purpose when you buy a house is to make sure that you hold that value as much as possible.
Yep. Keep the
maintenance is key.
Yep.
Boomers failed at doing that shit. I'm talking about black boomers. They fail, bro. They fail.
But they fail on a lot of things too, as well. One could say, MD, that the family aspect or lifestyle that we used to have, the strong conservative, stance that we used to have back then, we slowly eroded that because, I'm talking about the black community. The ones that used to fight the hardest, that went to the church and they galvanized and formed the masses when it came to marching and all that stuff. They over time stopped doing that. The strong conservative stance that you will see where with church going and this, and it started going downhill from there. So now over time now you're now seeing seeing the nuclear family aspect of what we used to see back in the day. You now see.
But what they got to do with maintaining your house though?
No, but
like I said, I get that we used to be quote unquote more socially conservative. I don't think that got no effect of our financial situation. The boomers
Well,
fucked up financially.
right, but no one taught, financial literacy. No one stated, hey, this is how you're gonna
There you
overhead
go.
keep
Now you're
the
talking.
upkeep, right, keep the upkeep of the house, generational wealth. You're gonna tell MD that when he has his son, this is what he's gonna do, and keep the house. Don't sell it when grandpa die or grandpa died, or that kind of thing is what I'm talking about. Like over time, it just became like, okay, well, no one give a damn. So then now they complain as they get older. Oh, well, back in my day, we used to do so and so. Well, back in your day, you had it more easier. Now it's not the same. It's completely different because it eroded over time because no one really gave I wouldn't say the pamphlet, but the guidelines and the rules of going along as you get, to the maturity stage. No one really left
There you
anything
go.
there. So it's sad. I would wish they would have left or kept some kind of template that says, hey, as you get older, this is what you're going to do. This is what you're going to tell your kid to do. Credit is going to be important. When your kid gets to like age 13, put their name on your file and start building their credit that way. If you need a house, this is what you're going to do. There's going to be such and such. The voting rights going to come in on it. Nobody left that in place. So it becomes a question now of why didn't they do that? Why didn't you leave a template? Why didn't you leave some kind of guidelines to then have us fulfill the continuation of that? Instead of now, you're saying, oh, back in my day it was better when we had 5 cents for gas and ice was $2 and we had such and such. Like that doesn't help us now. Look where we're at now. You know what I
There
mean?
you
Like
go.
it's
Hey,
crazy. But sorry to
you
get
hit.
your
Hey,
side. Yeah.
no, you good, man. You hit it on the head, bro. And then Gen X came in and fucked everything. I always say, bro, Gen X, half of them went to college, the other half started smoking crack. That's what happened to Gen X, bro. They fucked up everything.
But speaking of which, when did what was it, not Nixon? When did Reagan come into play? What year was it that he came into play? I'm trying to remember. You remember the time?
What was that, Van Cat? 80, what, 80, right? 80.
Reagan got into office in 1980,
Yeah,
and then he
yeah,
was
80, yeah,
reelected in 84.
So it's
yeah.
1984. Okay, so during that time frame that he came, I want to say like probably end of 70s going into the 80s when he came into play. Wasn't he
The
like,
boomers loved Reagan. The black boomers loved Reagan. You understand that, right?
but why do we love Reagan when he was the one that ended free education on account of black people were too educated at
Because
that
Reagan
time?
gave them tax cut. Reagan
No,
gave the
and
boomers
that's
tax
my
cut.
issue. This is my problem with Reagan and the people that love him back in the day. They all fail to realize what he ended up doing was he destabilized the whole entire progression of black people moving forward. When you
Especially with the Contra thing,
no,
the Reagan and the Contras putting all the drugs in the neighborhoods and whatnot.
and all
That's
that,
Boomers
crazy.
didn't give a damn. They had done their job. Their kids was grown at that point. What
and
boomer don't care?
that's my issue, MD. Because then during that time frame, they were when the black folks during that era were very highly educated. They were so progressively far far movable up the upper echelon. My problem now with that was when he came into power, he said, all right, well, he started getting the ears of, or got the people in his inner circle started getting into his ears and say, hey, you need to suppress those black folks because the more knowledgeable they're becoming is the more now you won't be able to get a control over.
I disagree with that because
I don't know,
again,
MD. I don't know,
we
but
we
I'm just
we talking about a certain demographic of black folk. I agree with you on the certain demographic.
right. Well, let's say certain. Because you
Black
can't
boom. I'm
generalize.
talking about black boomers would have been in 1980. Black boomers would have been creeping into retirement at that point. Not not boom. I would say they would be in the second half of their career. They was well established at that point. Reagan came in and gave them a significant tax cut. They don't give a damn who's smoking no crack. Even they own kids were smoking crack. Hey, you got to get out of here. You ain't fucking up my house. You know what I'm saying? Boomers were good. Black boomers. They were good under Reagan. Loved him. Remember they had the segment. Remember they had the segment what they called the Reagan Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
Those were black people.
Damn tax
So
cuts scare everybody.
again, man, it's a it's a deep layered conversation, and I think that's something that we can have in the future.
Yeah,
Reagan frigged up. Reagan frigged up the country in
yes,
a
he sure
major way.
did. He sure
He
did.
did.
Just
sure
before
he
he left
did.
office, there was a major there was a crash in the stock market.
He sure
Then
did.
what he did to George W. Bush, talking about no tax cuts, and then as soon as he sat in that chair and saw that all the damage that Reagan had did for 8 years, he had to start cutting taxes. I mean, he had to start paying, make people pay higher taxes because of
My
Reagan's
lips.
nonsense.
Read my lips. There should be
All right.
no tax cuts, and then lo and behold, there was. So it's a never-ending nonsense of believing all this crap that they spew and tell you, and people fall in line and follow it. But I just wanted to point out the whole Reagan situation. They always praise him, but he's where it started from, and they have to at some point acknowledge that he did do a lot of damage as he went through his political career and as it started ending for him. Black folks should have been like, yes, I get it. The tax cuts was one thing that aided you, but it also, in terms of his political agenda, stifled a lot of black progression. We have to at some point acknowledge.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I don't know how this country gave up free education, but that should never have been a situation where we gave that up. Education should have always been free. And I'm talking about going into college free. Like college and university, it was free for us until they realized, hey, why is it that there's such and so, and they literally cut it and they started making it where you had to pay for it. You go back and if y'all don't believe me, go back and read the history books. It will tell you. Literally,
what they did was they created the state college and university system is what they did.
Mm-hmm.
Where all the states, you got certain colleges and universities that's under the state education system. And of course, the state gonna tax you either way. They did that through tuition. So, but yeah. So hey, we got one final thing. Hey, look, the duck has come. You know what time? You know what time it is. Oh damn, that's the wrong gong. My bad. Oh, my light just fell. That's the wrong gong.
For he who the duck tolls.
Hey, that was funny. It made my damn light fall. Hey, you hit it on the head. But this is a special duck tonight. After doing research on this duck tonight, I think it's important to, as we focus on the duck, focus on the totality that laid the foundation for this particular duck. Ultimately, what I should have done was made the entire situation one big duck. And I still look at it that way. But the duck gonna come for all of them at some point in time, so it really don't matter. But we got a special duck tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening.
It's the main event. Let's get to the duck.
I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky.
Now a story leaked by him to CNN is appearing now. Let me reassure you, the things that you will see in that story, those are not the words of Mark Robinson.
We finally beat Medicaid.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump.
He's right, he did beat Medicaid. He beat it to death.
Duck went like a dove. Feathers fly in the air. Water in here, water in. Y'all a duck, yeah, you's a duck. Duck look like a dove.
Roger and his older son whole life, I knew them two wasn't going to college. And my two Japanese kids, I knew they was going to college. So I saved up college tuition for the two Japanese kids and bail money for Roger and his brother. So don't fuck with him. If you go to jail, I'm just going to bail him out.
Hey, I think that's what.
Oh, you don't sell it? Easy. He's not a fucking worker, bro. Calm down.
Yeah, what the fuck was that? You're good. What the fuck was that?
You don't sell it? Dude, he's not a fucking worker, bro.
What the fuck was that? Hold on. I don't play that shit, bro.
Oh, sorry.
Nah, I will fuck him up, bro.
I know you will.
Nah.
We're good.
I will fuck him up, bro.
You run in on his shit, you fucking give him his receipt. You remember what a receipt is? Give him that fucking receipt, bro. Tag his shit. If you got a fucking problem with it, I'll fucking run out there. Tag his shit, bro.
Me off, bro. It didn't even hurt. It just pissed me off. And shit pissed me off. And I'm gonna have to get him back. They said I can go in the ring and get it that. I don't even know what I'm gonna do to him. Bro, my dad can't do shit. I'm gonna fake crash out. All right, bet. You about to see you about to see how fake of a crash out. It's always been my dream to fuck up a pro wrestler for real. So I get it today. Am I really gonna fight him? Yeah, I'm gonna punch his ass for real. I don't believe in me getting disrespected too. I'm too nice. Bet. That shit was not staged. I'm telling you that right now. How many subs to knock him out? That's a good question. 50 subs to knock him out. If he hits me back for real, I don't give a fuck. I want him to. Y'all want me to teabag him? People think this shit's sweet. People think this shit's a fucking game. Hey, you're right, Joel. I gotta show him some form of respect. Then they don't train no goddamn martial arts. I'm really going to hit him. I'm telling you. What should I do, chat? Should I pick him up? Should I slam him first or hit him? W, if I should slam him first, I'm not fucking around. You don't think I can do it, Miggy? Bet. My dad can't never call me a bitch. Fuck this dude. Oh, you think he's stronger than me? All right, Suave, watch. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, Suave. I bet you wouldn't be talking like this if you was in front of me, nigga. Chat, watch what I do to him. Tony, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you, Tony.
You kill me!
Hey, you gotta stop this shit, man. Hey. Stop this shit, man.
I understand that, but now they can't wake the nigga up. He's fucking in the ring, fucking flatline, bro.
My bad.
You didn't have to do all that shit. I understand y'all had heat. You didn't have to.
You saw it? Let me see it. You broke his face? Hey, is he gonna get banned for it? It was really bad?
That's what Chad was saying. They said it was bad.
Motherfuckers playing with me, bro. Real shit. One of them a bitch and fucking bit me. I'm tired of everybody fucking playing with me and shit. Think I'm always playing and shit. Call me bitch and shit. Not no fucking bitch, bro. At the end of the day, I'm gonna stand up for my fucking self because I'm tired of everybody fucking playing with me, bro. Real shit.
Come on, man. We leaving, man. We're walking away, bro. Let's not take it serious. Let's go. Come on, Roger. Let's go. Let's go, Roger. Let's go. Roger, let's go. Roger, I'm telling you, let's go. You listen to me. Listen to me, Roger. You need to listen to me right now, Roger. Let's go.
I don't give a fuck. You guys trying to jump me and shit?
Let's go.
You ain't gonna do shit to me, bro.
Let's go,
you can't do shit to me. You can't fuck with me, bro.
Let's go.
You can't fuck with me.
You know, it's hard for me to talk about it, but you know, I'm just keeping 100. You know, I feel bad about what happened to Psycho Stu. I don't condone what my son did at all. Very, very unfortunate. If I was there, things went down, but you know what I'm saying, I wasn't there. I'm a father, so you know, I gotta have my son's back, but I'm gonna let justice, you know, play out, take its course. ain't much I can do on that side, but be a father. Y'all know I can't talk about that shit. I can't talk about any details and stuff like that. I can't really go into nothing. I hope y'all can respect that. The shit put me in like a bad mood, you know what I'm saying? I feel bad about Psycho Stu and his family. His family had to see that shit, you know what I'm saying? And I just wish I could have been there, but I couldn't. Shit is wild. Shit is wild. Now shit all over the internet, so you know I see a lot of people editing stupid shit for clickbaits and stuff like that, and to make money and shit. That, you know, that's not fair. There's a lot of racist people showing their true colors and stuff, but you know, all this shit, you can't stop none of this shit. But you know, I'm not, you know, taking up for my son or anything like that. I'm just telling you guys facts. You know what I'm saying? But I'm doing what any father would do. Is being a father in hard moments like this. Sometimes you're proud of your kids, and sometimes you're not proud of your kids. But at the end of the day, you're still a father. Hopefully one day I can meet Psycho Stu and shake his hand and have a man-to-man with him and stuff like that. But who knows? But I'm just gonna try to like get back to being myself. I don't got the right words to say, and I know whatever I say, the haters gonna try to twist my words and say whatever they want to say. But you know, I wasn't there. I was learning what went on at the same rate as everybody else. Then I got down to the bottom of it, and I learned there's a lot of misinformation out there. So guys, don't believe every edit and stuff that you see. Y'all need to know that I don't condone Roger's conduct, and I hope Psycho Stu can forgive me, myself, as a dad, because for not understanding everything, you know what I'm saying? And let's see what happens from here. I'm not talking about that shit no more. I'm not talking about that shit no more. I'm done with that. I'm moving on. But this don't got nothing to do with nothing that's going on. But all I'm going to say is that my son hasn't been the same since his mom got murdered. He hasn't, and I know that. And I've been trying to be there for him and, you know, make him laugh and cheer him up and everything. But I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't know what the fuck to do. And you know, I know my kids. He hasn't been the same with me. Like, he's just been distant from me. Like, he want to be more of a man and more of this. I don't know how to deal with this shit.
So there you have it, man. Lame duck number 7, a package deal this week. And you know, I didn't think it warranted separate duck because it did. It's a package deal, and ultimately, it should have been not only these two, but the whole organization. Ultimately, that's what it should have. Me looking back at it now, it should have been the whole organization, and they should have just been the two cherries on top of the duck cake. Van Cat, what you got?
So you mean like when the friggin' referee and that wrestler covered the guy that's Psycho Sue, whatever his name is. He's on the mat after being pounded in the face 21 times with blood and teeth. Huh? Blood and teeth. He covered the guy, and the referee counted it. Like, so this organization is linked to Rikishi and some other people, and they changed the website.
It's two owners. It's Rikishi and the guy in the first part of the video that was holding Roger back after he got hit in the head with the can. That was an Anawai dude.
Yeah.
So it's bloodline business.
So WWE, they on followed Rikishi, which you know that's the stuff WWE gonna do. And then on the website for their organization, they had to blur out the WWE logo on the website. But this is some this is epic level lame duckerish behavior right here. This is the stuff you tell your grandkids about. This is some dumbass crap. First
It
of
was
all,
dumb.
you got Rampage.
Dumb.
Rampage is a jackass, right? Because there's other footage here where he's literally trying to tell his
Yeah,
son
he
that he's
called
a
he
punk.
called his son a bitch. He called him a
Yeah.
bitch.
Yes,
I
because
didn't
of the hit.
realize that was his son the whole time. I thought it was one of the same person. I didn't realize that was his actual kid. That's
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And after all that, like first of all, the Raja, whatever the hell his name is, that must have been hours after that hit, which he admitted didn't hurt. He continued to make it an issue all day long, being in the chat, getting hyped up by people in the chat. That's just ignorant as hell. Hours are passing here. He premeditated the whole thing, made it an issue. Now, I will say this, that Raja had, I think a day before, so he had a hard hit in his head, and he got like a concussion. So it wasn't, that wrestler doesn't know that. He doesn't know that at all. And, he's just doing a work. He's just playing around in wrestling. And, but he made it more of an issue, made it more of a thing, and to be hyped up by comments of random people on the internet in your chat. Oh man, it's just so premeditated. He needs to be charged. He's a dumbass, and you can see why he's a dumbass because his dad is a dumbass. Because really, I think his dad's words and calling him a bitch and a punk and all that other crap. I think that is like the main driver of why it happened, and he knows it. And I think he just used the chat to keep him hot.
So let's stop right there, because I think we got to psychoanalyze that one specific piece. You're right. There was a video out where he was on the phone and he was talking about something about when they was in a training session and he hugged his coach and he was like, "What are you, a bitch? You hug your coach?" Then I heard you got your ass. I heard you got your ass beat by some pro wrestlers. You a bitch ass. All time. So I want to psychoanalyze that. Okay. So me, I'm a father of 3 boys. Do you know how many times in a span of 24 hours I called my kids nigga and dummy, all type of shit, and all type of shit? It's in jest. I ain't saying my kids, but I do that, right? I think a lot of people do that. I ain't gonna never call my son no bitch or no shit like that. But I call you damn dummy, you the nigga, go do this, go do that.
Man, Fred Sanford, you big old dummy.
Right. It's the lessons that you teach after the fact. With Rampage, he literally was putting actions into place to try to reinforce his toughness, which is dumb. Even to a point like this, okay, you may have a situation where your kids may have been younger, and you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to put myself in a position where a kid may be bullying them or something like that. And you tell them, hey, don't let him bitch you out, do whatever. I don't care if you get your ass beat, you better fight. You know what I'm saying? That's a common thing in a hood household. Right. It's the example that you put forth what reinforces the emotion. That's just a fact. It's not you shaming your child or putting them down and no shit like that. You reinforcing an emotion. You reinforce you trying to make them engage with a common a moral standard. I yes, and I use the word moral. I don't believe in moral. Morals is something that you possess. But I can give you situations and examples to help reinforce your individual moral. that you can do that. That's a fact. It seems like what happened to the lame duck? It seems like, oh, there you go. It seems like what Rampage was doing, and sidebar on this too. I don't know what's going on in UFC, but we talk specifically niggas in the UFC are I don't know if they just out of touch. They get to the point where they just get out of touch, or they just overall dumb as hell. I don't know, but it's a problem. Rampage wasn't reinforcing a moral standard.
No.
Rampage is a nigga talking to his son as if he another nigga. Much like a lot of these manospheric people who enjoy UFC do or they accuse women doing to their own son, reinforcing a sexual standard based on what they think they should treat a woman like. Instead, they treat them like the nigga in and of itself. Same situation. So it don't seem like it's a sex neutral problem. It seemed to me like it's just a nigga problem. You know, but hey, that's just me observing. But continue, Venkat. I just wanted to put that out there.
No, that is very valid and good points here being made on that. Just very disappointing all around. The boy does, Raja, he does seem like he has some issues, and you kind of see in real time what may have caused his issues, his own dad. He doesn't seem to really be invested in him in the best way possible, and it's shown. The way that went down, God knows what had happened before this, because this is what we saw on the screen. What is behind the scenes? What's led up? What has his life been like? What kind of dynamic did they have? Because what we saw is horrendous. I'm sure it's worse, other things. But he needs to go to jail immediately. That guy is in friggin' hospital right now.
How is he not in jail? I'm still
That's what I'm
confused.
trying to understand too. How is he not in jail?
How is Will Smith not in jail? I mean, I guess it's the same thing. You know, when that night when he did what he did, how was he not in jail?
Assault. Right, it's an assault. But my thing is, and it's funny because MD, sorry to cut you off there, Venkat. MD brought up a good point. Rampage doesn't have any moral standpoint, because I remember I didn't even realize, because I don't follow them that much, but I remember seeing a lot of stuff regarding Rampage in the past 3 weeks, where he literally he seems like a very clout chasing type of person, because he's been online. He's doing videos talking about he's going to beat up the crap out of certain people when you see them in public. He's in nightclubs and doing all this stuff. The girl that's in the video in the car, as I said in the chat, he's there talking.
I think that's his wife.
Is
I think that's his wife.
Because
that's his wife.
It has to be his wife, because she seems to be everywhere where he goes. And
but check this out real quick, Ricardo, real quick. And this man said they was at the bowling alley, Ricardo. This man literally said while he was live at the bowling alley with his fucking wife, said, "I wish I could be there for my son." Nigga, you could be there right now. You at the bowling alley shooting alive.
Well, but that's more
with your fucking wife. Go ahead, Ricardo.
That's more important, MD, for me to show it on video so that everybody will realize that I wish I could be there. I'm trying to
the bowling alley was more important.
I wish I could be there for my son in the bowling alley. I mean, that's the only way I can stoke emotion from the clout chasing crowd that's watching me. It's weird and bizarre. The whole thing with him and the father, again, you gotta lead by example. If it seems like if it's not evident, the son has a lot of self-esteem issues. It would appear. It seems like
you can see where you have it from.
And there you go. So I didn't, like I said, if it wasn't for me seeing this whole thing, I would not have realized that he had a son the whole time, because I don't follow the whole UFC thing with Rampage. I know I see him every now and then on my timeline on social media. So I was trying to figure out who he was the whole time, because it's always him and the wife. I'm assuming that he's like doing video and all this stuff. Man, focus on your family dynamics. It's one. Just take yourself away for a second. And I'm talking to Rampage here. You don't need to be getting caught up in social media. It's not that great. It's that You have a platform. What is it that you're trying to do different? Because everybody's on there. Everybody and their mama is on social media now. Are you using it to elevate yourself? Are you using it to try to showcase that you could do better with your family? I don't understand what you're doing. You're with a young woman that's, and shout out to you. You have I guess, the sexual prowess of having a young female in your hand, because MD hit the nail on the head. It does seem like he's in that whole manosphere crowd. It would appear so, because the way he talks, sometimes I'd be like, is that his woman that he's talking to like that? Or
Did
is
you
that his
hear?
wife?
Did you hear the beginning of the video, Ricardo?
I heard some of it. Yeah.
Now that part in the beginning of the video, that was shot like a few weeks ago. This nigga said, now it's hard to wrap my head around this shit.
Like for everybody.
This nigga said, I've saved up I got 2 black kids, and why he called them Japanese, I don't fucking know. But he called them Japanese kids. I was thinking that, hell, if you're black, you got black kids.
Pretty much.
Yeah, they may be mixed race, but they black.
Exactly.
This nigga said, I got 2 black kids and I got 2 Japanese kids.
Wait,
this nigga said, huh?
No. So is he the one that at one time he said he was involved with a Japanese woman back in the day, and then so that's him? This is the same person we're talking about? It has to be him.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Oh, so now I know who it is.
This nigga said, I saved up money for my Japanese kids' college tuition.
Wow.
And I saved up money for my black kids' bail money. That shit, my head damn near exploded. That nigga said.
Father of the year.
Wow.
My head, and it's ominous because this shit happened prior to this whole thing started. It's ominous, bro.
This is crazy.
Yeah. What you say is really
manifests.
your true. Yeah, exactly. That's defining your real character.
Wow.
So he could tell us all day he wants to be there for his son and all this and whatnot.
He don't.
Hanging out in the bowling alley. There's really not much that should have stopped him. I don't know if this happened in the same state, if they were in the same state, in the same city. But even if they're not in the same state, you could take a flight.
Exactly.
And try to be
Rampage
there.
Jack, you got money. Get on a fucking flight.
I mean, yeah.
If something like that's going to be life changing to my child's life, whether good or bad, I'm there.
Hell yeah.
That's just a fact.
Yeah.
But your ass in the bowling alley,
right? Because those pins don't knock themselves down, MD. I mean, the kid's gonna have to wait.
And then remember in the video as well, I tried to put everything. I tried to chronicle it like in the timeline.
Mm-hmm.
After I showed the actual brutality that took place, it skipped to another video with Rampage, and this also blew my mind. He was with Sneeko. You know who Sneeko is, right?
Mm-mm.
Sneeko is I can't even explain the shit. Like he hang around with Kanye West and talk about black. Again, this goes back what I'm saying. These UFC niggas is on another level. I don't know what.
Yeah.
Not only him, John Jones, crazy as hell, and all these. Remember John Jones at the fight when he bowed down to Trump. Trump was sitting. I don't know what's going. Bones, I may need to get you on the show, bro.
Yeah,
what the hell is going on in the UFC?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch
these niggas is crazy. So the nigga was sitting there with Sneeko and found out. He was also live then. Found out about what happened at the wrestling event and wanted to see the video.
Yeah.
He looked at the video, looked I guess, I don't know, maybe disturbed by it, and kept it pushing. You ain't say, oh shit, let me go and see, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You just you relaxing in the club or wherever the fuck y'all at. You just kept relaxing.
And at one point he's like, okay, I want to go ahead and move past this, move on. Like, no, there's no moving on, dude. It's just starting. It's just starting. This is like a life-defining event. Anytime they bring up Rampage and his son, this is the leading thing. I don't care what title he won in UFC. I don't care what fight he had in UFC. Ain't nobody gonna reference those fights. We gonna reference this nigga. This it, man. This is your moment. This is it. This is what, when he dies, that's the first thing. The idiots that was involved with this just died. That's gonna be him. That's Hogan and the sex tape with the N-word going on. That's his moment, like right now. That's his legacy right now. That's the legacy you forged.
Right. It's crazy, man. All right, so now let's talk about the actual promotion. Knox, what is Knox Pro Wrestling, whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Again, you know, just by proximity, y'all lame ducks as well. What the hell kind of promotion are y'all running? First of all, before the show, everybody just chilling in the back of the building, in the parking lot, drinking beer, having that part. I really, you know, people been criticizing that. I haven't. You know, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But the guy, I believe the guy named AJ Manor. That was the guy with the cowboy hat on and all that.
Yeah.
He invite Raja to the show, and just, you know, at first I didn't believe it. At first I was like, yeah, ain't no way in hell like the dude just randomly hit somebody over the head, and like, damn, so y'all just working all the time. Like, what type of shit is that? What the hell kind of if that's what's going on in the wrestling business, I don't want to be a part of it. You know what I'm saying? So you just go and randomly hit a person over the head, even if you work. Now, what they trying to say is he had his thumb placed over the can, like to make it look like it hurt, but it didn't.
Oh, yeah,
which is fine. I ain't got no issue with that. The fact of the matter is the dude didn't know what the hell was going on.
Right.
Which at first I didn't believe. I was like, ain't no way in hell he didn't know he was about to get hit with a fucking can. But through doing research, that's what it looked like happened. He just walked up and got hit with a fucking can. And then after he hit him, he asked him, "Oh, you ain't gonna sell it, brother?" What type of sell what? I should be beating your ass right now. which is also confusing to me. I'm trying to figure out, you got hit in the head with a can. Whether it hurt or didn't hurt, that don't matter. It's the principle. If you go beat his ass, why you didn't do it then?
Exactly. A lot of people have said that. A lot of pro wrestlers said that too. I think JBL said that. Like, it would have been better if right then and there they would go to blows right there, get it all out the system right there. There's a lot of people around that could stop it from getting, too wild, and then it would be over. But the problem that makes Raja look so bad is that it's hours upon hours passing. There's a moment where the guy apologized to him, tried to shake his hand, he brushed him off, but eventually he did shake his hand. And like, that should have been squashed then. Why the hell we continued it on because of online chatter and made it a bigger problem and then just kept it going? It's just ridiculous. And that's why he should be charged. It's premeditated in nature. Anything that had to happen should have just happened right then after the crash of the can on the head. And again, he admitted it didn't even hurt. It didn't hurt because it was on purpose to not hurt. This is friggin' wrestling, man. And I wrestled before. You try out things. You practice not hurting people, but making it look believable. This is friggin' wrestling. You don't even have to be in the wrestling industry to understand that. That's what it is.
Right.
So for him to go in there
at the same time, I was gonna say real quick. At the same time, though, Van Cat, you ain't in wrestling mode 24/7, bro.
No, but you're in a wrestling show talking about making an appearance in the ring. So at that point, it's all. I mean, they shouldn't have like outsiders. It's very clear because not all these outsiders are going to be Bad Bunny level. That's very clear. This dumbass should have never even been there. And if he was going to be there, he should have been in the audience watching. He shouldn't have been like in the audience only watching, not coming out of the audience to interfere in the match. There should have never been anything like that because he clearly can't handle that mentally. But this is friggin' wrestling, and it's not a new thing. I mean, you know what it is. It's a work. It's a whatever the hell you want to call it. but the guy didn't try to hurt him or anything. He said it himself. It didn't hurt. So what is the friggin' issue? Ignorant pride and all this other nonsense that wasn't really there. And his dad saying all what he said after it happened. That's what really charged him up. And that stupid chat. How can you be motivated and influenced by a friggin' chat like that? Like, that's just crazy. That's crazy.
And ultimately, I think this is what this come down to. Yeah, I agree. Maybe he got some underlying issues with his dad and all that. But to me, it was really about the amping up, bro.
Yes.
If it was no cameras involved, if it was no streaming, I don't even think this shit would have happened.
No.
That's just a fact. He would have got hit over the head and they would have squashed it and that would have been it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But because he was high, and again, this kick shit is new. I guess, you know, they part of it and promoting and doing whatever. What they looking for viral moments, Venkat. That's what it is. And they pushed him and pushed him and pushed him. And yeah, he was talking about his dad as well, but they was pushing his ass in that chat. Hell, the chat was calling him a bitch. I bet you won't do it. I sub if you hit him right now, bro. Remember, this the politics of drugs.
Yeah.
Subscribers and all that shit and likes and views. That's a drug, bro.
Yeah.
That's a drug. It may be one of the dangerous, most powerful drugs yet. That's just a fact.
Clout
so,
chasing.
hey man, clout chasing, man. That's the effect. That's the effect, and motherfuckers become addicted to it, bro. And Rampage asked him. Remember, he was sitting with Sneeko in the bar, whatever fuck. When he saw the video, he said, "Is he gonna get banned from Kick? Who gives a damn if he gets banned?
Yeah.
This motherfucker might be arrested and charged with attempted murder. You worry about a motherfucking stream? You dumbass? I can't make heads and tails of it, man.
This illustrates the worst of society and like why things are the way they are. And this should be used as a teachable moment for sure, because it's not right. That guy's in the hospital right now. He just looks horrible right now. And we don't even know what the long-term effects might be. What kind of damage he sustained in his own brain. He might have got a concussion from that too.
Man,
we don't know,
bro. Again, when you get concussed, hell, damn concussion. When you're unconscious, your brain is in shutdown mode, meaning it's vulnerable. If you continuously getting blunt force trauma to your head, while your brain is essentially off, that damage is irreparable, bro. That's just what it is. So it's gonna be some long-term effects.
Another thing I want to mention too is like there's this attitude here. You heard him, Raja, as he said, I for the longest time had dreamed about messing up a professional wrestler.
Yeah. Disrespect.
Okay. There's a few things with that. Okay. Professional wrestlers are the most dynamic athletes on the planet. Ain't nobody coming close to a professional wrestler. For what they got to do, verbally, physically, psychologically, no other sport, no other nothing is doing what professional wrestlers do. However, don't get it twisted. If a professional wrestler implements the skills and techniques that they know how to do in a real way, it's a problem. That's why if anybody should know it, MMA should know it more. Look at the wrestlers, the legit wrestlers that compete in MMA. There's a problem in there too. So I don't understand the arrogance. He's a boxer. I don't know, but the arrogance of looking down on the professional wrestler. And if you look at the state of boxing, you look at the state of any combat sport, MMA, all that stuff, what are they doing right now? The same tactics that wrestling pretty much championed and originated. The selling of getting people into the seats and whatnot by the stories and whatnot. UFC had a whole show just showing you the stories behind the scenes of leading up to matches and whatnot. And this professional wrestling needs to get more respect than what it does. and he just came in with this cavalier attitude towards a wrestler, basically looking down on the guy, which also gave him, I guess, the right in his mind of what he's doing is just because these guys are fake ass athletes, and I'm gonna show you how a real person get down, and that needs to be addressed too. Not many people are talking about that aspect, but that's just something I had to comment on too, because it's pretty
No, yeah,
lame,
you're right.
pretty freaking lame. And
Yeah,
again, the whole industry, UFC, kickboxing, everybody is using elements of professional wrestling because they know and understand that those tactics are what making the money, and everybody's trying to go viral, and they need wrestling. So frig them all, man.
yeah.
They need
And
to
you're
put some
right,
more
man.
respect on the game of wrestling.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. At the end of the day, man, it's a sad story. You know, like you said, you know, his mother was murdered. At what age, I don't know. I don't know if he was still a kid. I don't know. But at the end of the day, right
We got
now,
to
he's a
check to
grown
see if
ass man.
Rampage did it, because that guy's farther than a decade. We need to check to see if he
Yeah,
did it.
you know, at
Judging
the end
by
of
his
the day,
thought process.
at the end of the day, man, he a grown ass man. I believe they said he was 25. You
Oh
got,
yeah.
hey,
Oh yeah.
you got to be responsible for your own actions, bro.
And
But
take
You got to be
if he's
accountability.
responsible for
hurting like that, why don't he take the steps to talk it out with a professional? You have there's all kinds of people that you could go talk to. You can work on your pain that you have about the situation. He has avenues to do it, but again, he don't want to be seen as a punk, so he ain't gonna do it. So now we're here with this problem now, because you're throwing your issues on the world and telling the world to fix you instead of you fixing you. That's pretty lame
and,
as hell.
and that's what it means to be an individualist, bro. That's what it means to be an well, now he may not have no choice but to be an individualist, because he'll have somebody to talk to himself in the jail cell.
Yeah, and
So, you know,
Pookie and Leroy and Lump Lump. Yeah, they're gonna be waiting for him,
well, I
tagging that
mean,
ass.
I think it's a bigger fight. You know, I think it's a bigger fight. You know, it's
Oh, it'll
one
be a
thing
real
to be
big fight.
it's one thing to be big and tough and you know, go down that path.
Oh,
But
it's
I think
gonna go down, and it's gonna be real big and tough.
see, you know, it's a bigger fight.
Oh, it's
Trust and
real
believe it.
big.
And I'm talking about you know, your inner self.
Oh, it's
I,
gonna be
and
a
and
lot
I
of inner stuff.
and I think that's that's gonna be one that you're gonna have to overcome at some point. So, right, but as of right now, you've been taken by the duck. That's just
Yep.
what it is.
Yep.
So, with that being said, man, that's the end of the show. Hey, look, that's the series finale, MGSD series. I think it was a pretty good series.
Oh hell yeah.
I contemplated what I wanted to do next. I wanted to get back to regular scheduled programming with a lot of the stuff that's happening in politics, but the last couple of days, actually the last week, I've been entrenched in a battle with the FBAs and the pan reactionists and the immigrants. So I've immersed myself in that battle. So now it's time to do the politics of blackness once again. Next week's show, the politics of blackness. We're gonna lay it all out on the table. Hell, I've even invited some guests.
Okay.
So we gonna see what's what. Next Tuesday, as of right now, I've scheduled an interview. I'm gonna have an interview with my old friend Conscious Ron, who used to be over there with us on the arena. He's been going at it with the FBA. Now he's an American freedman himself, but he's been going at the FBA. I want to see what's his stilo and what's his angle and how he's going about it. He'll possibly be on the show as well on Thursday. Also shout out to Jesse. Jesse is FBA. Jesse FBA to the core. So, you know, I talked to him a couple of days ago. What was it, yesterday? I believe it was yesterday. I had him on a live, impromptu live that I did, discussing some things. I don't disagree with the pathway of what an American black is. I wholeheartedly disagree with FBA. FBA is a cult at the end of the day. That's what it is. And I don't condone a lot of the shit that they do. But we gonna, like I said,
there seem to be a lot of cults.
you're right. We gonna lay it all out on the table. No holds barred. No holds barred. Now, the conversation ain't meant to offend. You know, I ain't gonna let it go that far. But we gonna talk some harsh reality. We gonna talk some harsh on both sides. On both sides. I did a live stream. What was that? I believe it was Monday or Tuesday, with a couple of guys. They was wrong in their ways, and they thought that they had the best of me. But none of their points made sense. These were some reactionists, panties. And if it was up to them, all I asked would be in Africa somewhere in a straw hut, chasing baboons. And I don't want to chase no baboon. You know what I'm saying? But hey, look, we're gonna get into it next week. Politics of black. I'm gonna let y'all sign it off, man. We're gonna go to sleep, bro.
All right, great show, guys. Looking forward to that episode next week. Sorry I couldn't be there a little bit earlier, but yeah. So the drugs, as they will say in the old PSA messages from the early '90s, unless it's for recreational use, drugs ain't all that bad. Meaning like the marijuanas and the whatnots. If it's for recreational use and you know what you're doing and you know your limitations, by all means, enjoy what you enjoy. It's about time we legalize weed and marijuana. I don't see why we're still blind about this nonsense. Get it together, legalize the damn crap. Let's move on. We've progressed way too forward to be doing this back and forth nonsense. Great shows in terms of the politics of what we've done so far. Looking forward to in the future politics of economics, and the politics of the plethora of the stuff that could go on and on. But shout out to Bones, UMP, Van Cat, Twin, Mike, whoever else is listening, and we look forward to seeing you next week, Thursday. Peace.
All right. Yep. Another awesome show here. TFP 2.0. We'll be back next week with the politics of blackness. Looking forward to that show. It's a great show, a needed show that talk about topics that are very important in society, and it's good to hash out a lot of this stuff and put it on display for people to consume and think about. We'll continue on with the conversation in a major way with next week's episode. And peace to MD, peace to Ricardo, peace to Old Dirty. Mike is right, MIR. Peace.
Hell, MIR, MIA, more like it. I don't know what the hell going on with them, you know what I'm saying? But hey, man, wherever you at, bro, I guess shout out to you. Hey, look, real quick before we go, hey, follow your boy. Hey, I done jumped out the window, y'all. Your boy is on TikTok now.
Oh my goodness.
Follow me on TikTok. I'm putting clips on TikTok. Hey, they've been doing pretty good too. I've been getting engagement and folks commenting, talking about different stuff. My goal is to put shorts and clips out every day of the past week's show.
Oh, okay.
So, I don't know what made me do it, but I'm on TikTok now. So follow, give your boy a follow on TikTok. I ain't doing no dancing or no shit like that over there. I'm just putting up clips. So, you know what I'm saying? Hey, it is what it is. Hey, with that being said, man, my co-host, Ricardo Venkat, we'll see y'all next week. Politics of blackness. Hey, peace.
Peace out.
Quack.